Thanks for being here. This is Truth Seekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truth Seekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers.
Ancient prophecies telling us that the world will be transformed.
Wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? He makes all this stuff up and claims that it's all true. The aliens want to eat us. Be careful that they don't get you. It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can you steal? It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can you steal?
This is where if I have a live audience, I get everybody to hug each other. I say, give your neighbor a handshake or a hug, whatever you feel is appropriate to you. And that way everybody feels the love a little more. I will never believe it, I will never believe it. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you need 25,000 more years, I don't know, buddy. But look, this is really compelling information, and it's going to get a lot more intense. It's coming up in a couple days here on Sunday, so if you haven't already signed up, we have reopened the cart. We still have the payment plan in place. That account, I believe, is real. I've watched it for a long time, and he says a lot of really provocative stuff there that has definitely caught my attention on many, many occasions. I've heard this briefing many times. Incredibly, incredibly sad, but probably a lot more than just what it looks like on the surface. If you don't really see what's going on here, this might not make sense.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. We are back on track and ready to attack the biggest steaming pile of bullshit from David Wilcock since the last steaming pile from his stream we covered the last time. So David Wilcock is back every week, desperate for money and begging for money like you have never seen him. He must be truly desperate to actually work for 3 hours a week. Oh, well, then he's got to make the slides too. Yes. So For those unaware, David Wilcock has been literally sharing shit that he drew when he was 8 years old and attaching some grand cosmic significance to it. This is certainly due to his egomania and his bloated sense of self-importance. David Wilcock thinks that something that he drew or wrote when he was a child or in high school is so important that he will share it all with his followers for hours and hours at a time, all the while crying about how terrible his life is while people are throwing thousands of dollars at him. You can't make this stuff up. So we'll take a moment to welcome in the live chat. Boy, I see great attendance already. We have Garage E in the live chat. Anna Luisa, Dave B is here. Let me see. We have Foxy's Friends, Above the Clouds, Trolley Troll Troll, Trolley Troll Troll. Bobby Broadway is here. Above the Clouds, Anna Luisa is here. Wingnuts is here. Sandra McDonald, 5x5 News, haven't seen you in a while. Plan D is here. Thin Lizzy is here. Welcome, Plan D. And let me see, who else do we have here? Pookily P. Yeah, Pookily is here. Jason Parker is here. Above the Clouds, I think I mentioned. Kimmy77 is here. Annie Kurtz is here. 75 YBA is here. Pete Berry is here. Marina Mavrogenis. I love that name. It rolls off the tongue. Every time I say it, I say, wow, what a good last name. Mavrogenis. And I think I mentioned Foxy's Friends. If I haven't mentioned you, I probably just missed you or didn't see you in the live chat, but welcome one and all. The Watcher is here as well, who says, Wilcock's fans are psychos. I can't say that I disagree with you. I am continually being asked by people, why are people still sending this guy money? After all, he's been wrong about everything. Wrong about the mass arrests, wrong about us getting superpowers in the year 2000s, wrong about us getting superpowers in the year 2012. Now he's claiming the ascension will happen now in 2025. So he's given himself a hard date, which is always a stupid thing to do when you're a fake psychic, because then that hard date rolls around and most people would feel the need to explain why the prophecies that you put forth and the predictions that you made failed terribly. Oh, and of course he was wrong about all the Q-Tard stuff. That was all nonsense, and he pushed that for years. He was wrong about Corey Good. He spent 8 years, I guess, or 5 years on a TV show. Was it 5 years? I don't know how many years. He spent years of his life talking to a fake secret space astronaut who later admitted in a court deposition he'd never been to space. He's also been involved with multiple fake government whistleblowers like Pete Peterson, who never worked for the government, who never, wasn't who he said he was. So this is where we're at, and this is where we find ourselves. And the latest from David Wilcock is the craziest stuff yet. Now he claims that he was abducted by aliens and butt banged and mouth banged by reptilian aliens. And I don't know the order of this. It's bizarre, but apparently they butt bang him and throat bang him, and then they kill him, and then they eat him, and then they bring him back to life with some kind of med bed, you know. Sure, that makes sense. He was also apparently the victim of childhood torture and the R word or something like that, or being molested, I guess, at Disneyland. Great. Yeah. So it gets stupider and stupider. But lately, David Wilcock has been sharing these Q-Tard streams, Q-Tard posts from an account called Shadows of Ezra. Before we begin tonight, I just want to put on the record, thanks to my friends on Twitter, let me share my screen and show you this. So he claims that Shadows of Ezra, which is a Q-Tard Telegram and Twitter account that posts Q-Tard kind of nonsense, is the head of the Alliance Communications. And so somebody sent him this message to Shadows of Ezra. David is live. Now he is saying you are watching him and using his info for your posts. Every week he keeps pushing more and more. Shadows of Ezra says, thank you. Once again, I have nothing to do with David Wilcock. I don't even know who he is. He sounds insane. WTF. Oh, he is. He says that he is King David. He said that he was trafficked by people at Disney World. He was emmed by reptilian aliens. That is just a few things. And Shadows of Ezra says, I just post my opinion about things. That's all. So here we have confirmation from the person himself that David Wilcock is claiming is watching his streams and posting information based on David's stupid prophetic talking to angels, who, by the way, told him to take baths in his own piss to get superpowers. It's so stupid and silly. And he even commented on one of his streams recently. People are trying to say that I'm wrong about Shadows of Ezra. Well, we have the screenshots of the messages from the account you claim is watching your streams and posting information based on your streams. He doesn't even know who you are, David Wilcock, you dumbass. But this is what we get from David Wilcock. We get, it's the wacky world of Wilcock, like the song where make-believe is real, right? Yeah, and somebody commented to me earlier, which I thought was hysterically funny. The last few streams, David Wilcock spent hours and hours reading stories he wrote when he was like 8 years old or when he was a child, and showing people pictures he drew as a child. And again, he's attaching some grand cosmic significance to these things he did when he was a child because he's an egomaniac. And so somebody asked me if he's going to start showing his third grade report cards on his new streams, and that's next. I mean, where do you go after you spent 6 hours showing everybody drawings you drew when you were in high school and, stupid stories you wrote that have nothing to do with anything? Where do you go from there? Start showing your third grade report cards, I guess. So we're going to put our fair use banner up. We're going to try to get through as much of this stream as possible. But again, he streams for 3 hours. It takes forever to get through these things. And I also want to put on the record and mention, and I will show you the proof of this, that David Wilcock is still falsely copyright claiming anybody using one of his streams. And I will show you the proof of that. And it's completely and totally, what he's doing could be considered a form of fraud, because he is claiming that content is in a video that is not actually in the video. All right, so I'm going to show you this. Let me just share my screen. So this is his latest stream, which I uploaded to my YouTube channel as a mirror to share so that we don't have to sit through ads. And what David Wilcock's copyright vulture service that I guess he hired is saying is that included in this video is a clip from David Wilcock and Corey Goode, the Antarctic Atlantis, must-see live disclosure. This is a false copyright claim because Corey Goode is not even in this video anywhere, period. So do you see how it says monetization ineligible? This means that I cannot earn ad revenue doing commentary over this because he's falsely copyright claiming his videos for material that is not even included in the video that we're using. Corey Goode is not in this. He doesn't talk. This video is not what he's claiming. And I love it for it looks like a 2-minute, 1-minute clip of the video. I lose all ad revenue. And I believe that this is intentional. He's trying to squeeze anybody who is covering his nonsense to stop, I suppose, figuring, well, if they can't make money. And by the way, do you know who does get the ad revenue for using this? He does. So I may file against David Wilcock in small claims court. We're going to continue to cover him. And if he doesn't immediately release all these copyright claims, I may file against him in small claims court in Colorado. I still have to do some research, but I believe that I can do so and not have to travel to Colorado. They will let me appear virtually. This is a miscarriage of justice. There's no reason that David Wilcock should be stealing money from me or any other content creator that is legally using clips of him promising people superpowers or telling people that angels told him to take baths in his own piss to get superpowers. There's no reason that he should be allowed. And you know, to be very fair, it's like, I don't know what the ad revenue is, $10, $20, but it's my money. It's my money, David Wilcock. Why are you stealing my money with false, completely false copyright claims? He's claiming that there's content in the video I'm sharing that's not even in the video. This should be illegal. It's a form of fraud. He's stealing money from any content creator that covers his nonsense streams. And I, for one, am going to vigorously and legally, if necessary, defend my rights and get my money back. We're already up to 4 or 5 streams since he started doing this. So you do the math. I don't care if it's $50. That's my $50, and I want it, David Wilcock. All right, so we've put that portion on the record. And we want to thank all of you for your kindness, generosity, and the super chats, because that makes up for the money that is being stolen out of my pocket by David Wilcock, who lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion, and he's literally stealing money from working people. Great. Thank you, Bunker Buster, and thank you for being a member, who just says praise the cash. So I appreciate these super chats because they help cover the lost revenue since David Wilcock has decided to steal money from me with completely and totally 100% false copyright claims. But thank you, Bunker Buster, for helping make up the difference. We're going to continue to do this whether he keeps stealing from me or not. Thank you.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right. We will. Thank you very much, Bunker Buster. And thanks for being a member as well. I also want to take a moment. Listen, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, you better hit that subscribe button because there are tons of free memberships being gifted. I want to thank Mike Larry and a few others who over the weekend, I don't know, that guy, Mike Larry, he bought like hundreds of free memberships. He gifted hundreds of free memberships. Thank you, Mike Larry, for your kindness, generosity, and support. Because we had a hell of a weekend praising the cash. This one's just for Mike Larry because he's making it rain up in this bitch. We are praising the cash. But I still, regardless of how much I'm praising the cash, I still want my money that is being stolen from me unjustly by a new age grifting scammer. There, I said it. David Wilcock is a new age grifting scammer. Thank you. Also, Marina Mavrogenis for a kind and generous $3 with a super sticker. Thank you as well. Longtime show supporter, Marina Mavrogenis.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right. I will get over my anger at having David Wilcock steal from me, and we'll get into the video. Look, there's another one, 5x5 News. You rock, Cambian. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you, 5x5. We appreciate your kindness, generosity, and support. Thanks for helping us, too.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right, we got one more. Thomas Robinson with a kind and generous 10-pound super sticker, and also a member. Very, very kind and generous of you. Thank you, Thomas Robinson.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Yes, and I'm feeling important and special thanks to people like Mike Larry who keep buying these, gifting these memberships, because I'm looking in the live chat and almost everybody is a YouTube channel member thanks to Mike Larry. So we really appreciate. Look at that, they're all members. Everybody in the live chat is just about a member, and if you're not, you know, Mike Larry can't buy everybody a membership. So throw the $5 down, get the extra goodies. We appreciate you. All right, we're going to get into this video now. I'm slowly coming down from my soapbox here. But the fact that David Wilcock lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion and he's stealing pennies out of my pocket kind of pisses me off. And so let's get to the video. This is one of the biggest steaming piles of bullshit since the last steaming pile of bullshit from David Wilcock. This one's called Teachings of Honor and Duty. And for those unaware, apparently it is David Wilcock's honor and duty to share and talk about Q-tard posts, even though almost even all the hardcore Q-tard posters and fans by now know that the Q-tard thing was a big joke. It was a big joke. That's what it was. It was all fake. Everybody else gave up on it, not David Wilcock. He loves the Q-tard nonsense, and he's a big Trump supporter, right? Some spiritual guru, big fan of Trump. But let's get into the video. This is a fair use. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public, and critiquing the video that we are sharing. This is being used for educational purposes and is certainly covered under fair use. Pardon me.
It's Colin McGeezer. Could I start, mate? Could I please just start the show? David, you got to let it happen at least once, mate. You got to let Colin out to top once in a while. People are going to get a little bit miffed about it. Anyway, I'll give you my perspective on honor and duty in the Australian military.
What nonsense. And look, he's cracking himself up.
Mate, when you go out in the bush, there's all kinds of things out there that do not want to honor you, mate, and it's your duty to get rid of them.
We'll share some
The
comments while we
Australians
listen.
will tell you it's your honor to eat grubworms, mate. We have
I agree,
grubworms,
Flerk.
bushmeat
I agree.
comes right out of the bush. You pop it in your mouth. It's squishy.
I think we
it
all
tastes
do.
horrible,
He's making the
but, mate,
world
it's
dumber
honor.
with every stream.
Your honor and your duty, mate. I gotta do some Colin McGeezer, open things up and have a little fun.
I agree,
you guys are
Foxy
doing well
friends.
today.
Thank you.
It's really not about the Australian military and eating bushmeat. Come on, I got to do something to keep it alive and fun for you guys. Okay, let's read
If he
some
keeps
comments.
going
Yay,
broke,
David,
he'll be
you
eating
rock as
squirrels
always, says
before we
Gary
know it.
Hager. G'day, mate. Let's have another strip on the barbie, says Northeast 3D Design. All right,
Yep.
we got, now I have a sty in my eye. Somebody said that. Hi, all from Denmark. Love and light.
David's never been in a bush.
Saludos e bendiciones
Good one, Dave B.
desde
Thanks for being a
Quito,
member.
Ecuador.
Oh,
Hope I did
where's
that
the
right, Patricia Gerardo?
Yes.
Hi, David. Can you possibly tell me how many customers have gained ascension after buying your programs? Well, that's a good.
This is great, by the way. This is a Truth Seekers viewer that went into his live chat. And did you hear what he asked? How many people who bought your course have ascended, David Wilcock?
question. I think we're all going to ascend. So therefore, you don't need to buy anything for that. In fact, as soon as we get funded.
Oh, so we don't need to buy your stupid books you claim come from angels? Because we're all just going to ascend. Meanwhile, every one of his grifts is like, Ascension, this big event is coming, and you're going to need to know how to deal with it. So you need to buy my course. And it's a fair point. This guy has sold now, what? This is his third course on Ascension. How many of his viewers that bought the $333 scams have ascended? None of them. Nobody has. But now he's going to tell you that he's going to be doing charitable work in the future, and he won't need money because his company's going to get financed. But I have news for you, David Wilcock. Your company, Stavati Aerospace, has been called an investment scam and a Ponzi scheme in court documents. You're being sued by multiple creditors for unpaid bills. No one is investing in that scammy company. And if they do, they're an idiot. And by the way, just because I don't really understand how these things work, but I have a friend, he works on the Philadelphia stock market. He's a stockbroker, and he also does some venture capitalism and invests in businesses. So I sent him the court documents and the things related to David Wilcock. And I said, if somebody were an investor, a serious investor, to the tune of millions or more, would they do their due diligence and find these things? And he said, oh, absolutely. No investor would invest, $1 million or more dollars into a company before doing a great deal of research. And one of the first things you check is if they have any open lawsuits. So David Wilcock keeps claiming that his company is going to get financed, whatever that means. But a real professional in investments told me nobody's investing in this. They're gonna find that they're being called a Ponzi scheme and an investment scam, and they're gonna run, right? And add to that they're being sued by their creditors. That's another big red flag. You don't want to invest in a company that owes hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid bills to people that they took services from and never paid. But we'll listen to David Wilcock's steaming pile of horse shit anyway.
On this company, I'm probably going to transition out of an income-based model for what I do.
Been saying this
I don't
for
need
years.
to charge anything other than maybe ad revenue. And as I said before, I'll probably have a special streaming network, but it'll be a very low cost compared to typical high-priced online conferences. If I do a conference in a public area, of course, I still have to charge for that. There will be ticket sales and so on.
You better start channeling an expert attorney instead of those angels. You're right, Jason
not
Parker.
Anything outrageous. So that's another thing that I'm looking forward to, is actually not being subject to money. And in fact, one of the quotes we're going to have in the show today,
yeah, probably
on
5 by
honor and
5
duty, is from the Law of One.
I thought of David Wilcock when I
talks
saw
about
that.
How we acquired a money system.
Yeah, it doesn't pay
in so
dividends
doing,
either.
Lost our lifespan of 900 plus years that we used to have.
We had a lot of money.
We had this
Mike.
money system, and we lost the concept of honor and duty on a widespread social level. This is when we all got into trouble and our lives became much shorter, because you have to restore the honor and the duty component. This is the big topic for today.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to go off on it just yet.
We used to live to 900 years old, but then we forgot about honor, so we stopped living. This is so stupid and childish. Where's he getting this from?
So Jazias says, we need you to be a millionaire. Project Skyfalls says, hi, David. Ilse Barrow says, hi, David. So glad you are on today. Lisa Corlison says, love expanding my consciousness with you from Washington State. Dues Design says, David, I love you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kristen says, Colin. David, you look great today. No eye pimple. Does everyone notice that? It's still there, but it's not as bad.
Yeah,
I've definitely,
his herpes scars are going away. His herpes sores are going away. Now he's going to tell everybody how he's popping zits in the shower.
Like,
awesome.
Just I wait until I'm in the tub and I've been through my whole bath, and then at the very end, I'll squeeze it.
I think you're right,
bit, push on it in all the different directions, and almost all the stuff has come out.
Yes,
so
more garbage.
That's
absolutely
something I'm very happy about. Believe me. Dro Tarotina says, wow, perfect.
If you got his phone number, you better message me.
I was just trying, but we got a first donation. Melissa Wesniak, $9.99. And she says, love you, Sweet Pea. Thank you very much. In fact, Sweet Peas play an important role in one of the things we're doing with our company. So that's kind of a psychic hit. Dodati Vinay Ratliff, we're celebrating his first super on a live stream. I'm not really sure about the gender on that name. Sorry. We want to hear you play your guitar.
In his chat, they kept asking where the med beds are.
To get my calluses back.
That's funny.
Thank you for noticing that. Crystal P donated $10. Thank you, Crystal.
Now he's going to tell everybody what a great guitar player he is, but he never shows anybody.
I've been working on the guitar.
Nobody's ever seen him play those
guitars. There's a couple things that I really needed to get drilled.
Where are the med beds?
I've spent almost my entire time, 14 years now, just doing fingerstyle guitar, because I started in 2010. But in just the last few years, I've really started to take strumming more seriously.
Thanks for being a member.
And now I'm really, really getting into advanced strumming techniques. And unfortunately, most of the songs that you need to play involve strumming to some degree or another. I just said, nobody does fingerstyle. Every guy's strumming on a guitar. So let me learn fingerstyle guitar, because
she falsely copyrighted
much more refined
Dark Channel,
where you're using all 5 fingers. So there's a bunch of songs like that I've been playing. In fact, the classic one is "You've Got a Friend."
Yeah, I think you're right,
King James. Done originally by Carole King, and then it was
he was going to turn trans for a while. Pants on Fire.
Oh, you know who he is. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, I do the version that's the guitar version.
Yeah, I doubt
it. But with Carole King's vocal register.
I like Rick Beato's interviews,
and so that's a very fun song to play. It's extremely complex. If you get all the
finger style right, is not an actual guitar term. Yeah, I was thinking that myself, but I don't even think it's worth correcting him.
Melody and chords, and it's fascinating. So yes, I do love the guitar.
We are ready for Grift Off.
With guitars behind me because I like the way they look. I do play them. And honestly, what happened was when I had to work on these Michael Prophecy books, my hands just fell apart.
Oh my God, it was so hard writing, typing every day. So he couldn't play guitar for years. For
be
2
able to
years, he
keep
couldn't
up
play
with
guitar because he was too
the work
busy
that I was
typing
doing to get
bullshit
this
and
book
claiming
made.
an angel gave it
And
to him.
now that I'm out of it, I'm just finally realizing, like, wait a minute, you know,
I
it's
don't
okay.
know
My
anybody
hands
that
are
ever
safe.
heard him play
I
drummer.
can play
no.
guitar again. I finished the Michael books. I've got them out there.
Yesterday he
did
was
whatever they
banged,
needed to
murdered,
do.
and brought back. Yes.
So this principle of honor and duty, though, is
Sounds
very
familiar.
important.
5x5.
And I don't want to get too far off track here. Let me get the comments
He
back
thinks he's
on
James Taylor now. Yes.
so that they're up to date. Oh, we're getting more donations. D, $10.
Ring
Thank
light
you.
as a
Angela
halo
Munoz,
on
$50.
purpose.
Thank you very much.
Think.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Please play Dust in the Wind. Great finger picking song. Yes, I have.
Yes, he's a
certainly
better
done
guitar
that
player
one.
than Eddie Van Halen.
I haven't really like worked on it a lot, but
Hello, Aaron Flores.
there's a
Welcome.
lot of
Thanks for
pieces
being
that
a
I've
member.
integrated.
Long
Like
time no
This
see.
Is Your Song by
Welcome.
Elton John, but instead of doing it on the piano, I'm doing it on the guitar.
I think she
It's
sent
a
me an
very
email
complex
too.
arrangement.
We'll
It's
talk
got,
after the show.
a lot of
5x5.
interesting chords, and of
Playing
course, every
Guitar Hero
player
doesn't
knows
make
the
you a
F chord gives
guitarist.
you the
This
most
is why
trouble, where
his
you gotta
streams
bar your
take
first
3
finger, and then
hours.
the other 3 fingers are doing a
How
chord
long
under
is he
there.
going to talk about
And,
nonsense?
so
We're
there's
7
F,
minutes
and there's all
in,
kinds of stuff in
and
that
he's still
song.
talking
So
about
kind of getting
nonsense.
back into it now, but
What's up, Al
I
Warrior?
do think that
Welcome.
if I can ever get
Long
it
time
together
show
enough,
square.
I
Al
may not be able
Warrior's
to do
here.
it well.
Now it's a
James
party.
Taylor, yes, boom, thank you. Somebody named him, yeah. So
He
I do
practices
the.
on a
there
nylon
was a
string
guy
kid's guitar in his
online,
bedroom.
totallyguitars.com. It's not a paid endorsement.
Chuck Bam says, good
His name is
show.
Neil
I am a
Hogan,
big Wilcock fan.
and I got way more education off of
Oh, no.
totallyguitars.com and Neil Hogan's classes than any other guitar tutorial online. So I've never even like taken his private classes or anything, and I'm sure he's happy I'm saying this right now, because if you really want to learn guitar well and fast, personally, I never had any better success with anything except for Totally Guitars. Melody just donated $10. Melody Heart, thank you.
This is how much he needs money. He's calling out the super chats
Neil Hogan,
now. He never did that
he
before.
goes through everything step
He
by
does
step.
not play
and you're
guitar,
learning finger
case
style
closed.
in a lot
Yeah.
of cases, so you're using all 5 fingers.
Yes, Tim
and they all
Houston
have
says
to
you've
move
come to the right
independently of
place,
each
Chuck
other
Bam.
while you're also fretting with the other hand.
Sounds good.
So yeah, he had a
Pun
version on there
intended.
of James Taylor's "You've Got a Friend," and he transcribed exactly.
Yeah,
what
glad
James
to see you,
Taylor
Aaron
played note
Flores.
for
Welcome
note.
back.
And the only thing that I don't do that James Taylor did is this: when you're in the E minor chord here.
Oh my God, it's so
he does
stupid.
this weird riff that goes, and it's like this. You got to do slides. You got to
He
do that
probably
really fast.
doesn't play.
It's like, you know
Yeah,
what? Let's
probably.
just jam through that E, because screw that. So that's the one thing that I don't do the same. And I've heard other people doing the same thing, because that one part is just really annoying. I mean, you can, if you're into it and you're doing soloing a lot, it's probably fine, but it'll take some time. John Red says, can you channel Ra and ask if he can send a spaceship? I need to get off of this backwater planet. Thank you, David. Immediately followed by Zach Laney giving us critical information. I farted. You know, mate, that's a really good thing. Sometimes you've got to exercise your bowels. And in the Australian military, when you're out in the bush, mate, if you let one go just randomly, you could have a wallaby or a kangaroo, some type of duck-billed platypus with his spiny spikes on his legs, and he could get right up to you and poison you with those spiny spikes on his duck-billed platypus legs, mate.
Oh my God.
So you got to be
this
really
is
careful if you
so
want to break
cringe.
wind in Australia. Let me just put that for you. Roger Zabarik gave $10, non-military, non-AARO, donated as well. He says,
Yeah, he
what
does-
do the
it
different
does
colors
sound
of light
terrible.
spheres mean in relation to
Stupid.
spiritual progress? That's a major point.
He doesn't
on
even do
today's
it
talk.
well. I agree.
Nina Bravo says, lover you. Well, I guess I'm okay.
Interesting.
Some people, we're not going to go there. Chanta Hasenma, I'm sorry, Chantha Hanesana. Happy 4th of July early. Well,
People
yeah,
are
my mother's
ripping
birthday is
David Wilcock's
July 5th.
fake
the 4th of
Aussie
July is also
accent
like
to
a birthday
shreds.
celebration.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
Okay, let's get to it, mate, says Phyllis Georgic. Well, I'm having fun. I mean, I like to talk to you guys. How many
Plan
people really
B's
get to
huffing
do
and
this? You know,
puffing
where you
until
have
his
this kind of
cannabis
setup.
is all gone.
Vince Free says, I am amazing. Thank you. So, yeah, we're going to get to it.
David
We
plays.
got
He
18
probably plays
viewers
the
right now.
skin
That'll
flute,
probably go
Smith
up to
Richard.
around 4,000 as we go on. But anyway, I didn't really want to get into guitar and all that stuff today. Dorothy Carlson just donated $10.
agree, yeah.
Thank you, Dorothy. Project Skyfalls. David, I love watching your lives. You have a great sense of humor. I appreciate that. Talk about the 20. She said,
Foxy's
Adrian
Friends is only here for
says, talk
David's
about
turkey
30
impressions.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So let me just break away from your comments for a minute. Sorry about that, so I can focus. Because your love is distracting to me.
Oh my
you know?
God. I want to tip him and make him
intense that I
stop his
just wanna
stupid
keep basking
character.
in it. You're
It's
wonderful,
ridiculous.
David. Thanks so much
Yes.
for doing these. Elise Child. So there you go. If I look over there,
Yeah,
it's
but he's been
pure
known
love.
to use bots.
And there's
UFO
never
Shane
anything
says
bad
it's
that
unreal he
anybody
has
says. It's not
4,000
like
live
anybody tries to
viewers.
hurt
How
my
many of those
feelings
are
or
bots?
make me feel bad
He
about
got caught
myself
one
or
time using
try to
sex
get me
bots in
thinking
the
that,
live chat.
I don't belong here, that I don't belong with you today. I mean, the fact is you're here because you like what I have to say. And so
Yeah.
somebody was just asking about the different colors.
Anybody
And
who
that's how I
promises
did
you
want
a
to start this
spaceship or a
today.
hover car is
The law of one
probably a scammer.
describes that there are
Just saying.
different densities
Dust in the
take
Wind is
place
every
within
basic
3
Travis
dimensions.
pick. Yeah, Dust
So
in the
we
Wind is
have
easy
length,
to
width,
play.
and height. Those are 3 dimensions.
I used to play
That's a
that, or I learned to play it when I
space.
was a kid.
Space-time. And
My
then within those
one-time
3
guitar teacher
dimensions,
liked classic
we have
stuff like that.
7 densities. And so
If you
a
say so,
density
Tim Houston.
is essentially
Oh,
a
the
vibrational
word
level
salad
or an
nonsense.
energetic configuration,
Or New Age
a level of
nonsense.
intelligence is how they
Oh,
describe it. There's
this
a level of
dimension, this
intelligence of the
dimension, this
energy.
dimension.
And they're not all necessarily visible to us because we are only in 3rd density. So this is where the law of one is really confusing. I had some great slides on densities, but again, I didn't get to it this week. Part of the reason why
we're going to read that. UFO Shane says, I'm telling you, 5x5, how in the crap is TTSA isn't being investigated for fraud is also unreal to me. I think you should be grifting harder, UFO Shane. Get some more free laptops and start some more GoFundMes, because apparently the government doesn't care if you're grifting off of UFO people or scamming UFO people. So you got to grift harder, UFO Shane.
I'm doing a show on this is because I honestly have not had time to do anything
Hey, Admiral
else.
Rascals
I
is
was
here.
very distracted this week, and that's the main reason
He
why
says,
you get the topic.
I
that
see
you did.
Wilcock has been
Somebody
huffing the paint
did a whole
thinner
bunch of
again.
chargebacks somehow.
Oh, now we hear
ended up
about his
causing us
financial
to be
problems.
bottlenecked for the entire week.
He's crying and complaining, saying he had a bunch of chargebacks and he didn't have any money. And now he's going to cry that he had to wait a week for free money from a dumbass fan who's giving him thousands of dollars.
I couldn't get any of my money.
And by the way, just last week or the week before that, people gave him $4,000 at that conference he was at in cash. At least that's what he said. And instead of using that for anything good, he bought a brand new refrigerator with it because his refrigerator was a little too noisy. Now he's crying and complaining that he's broke again. And then he goes to one of his fans and asks for emergency money. You got to love it that he has fans dumb enough to just give him thousands of dollars at a shot. Wouldn't a reasonable person say, you were just given $4,000 2 weeks ago. What the fuck did you do with the $4,000 everybody gave you? Well, apparently, that's how David Wilcock lives like a baller. If he's got $4,000, he spends it right away. And then he just goes right back to his dumbass fans and begs for more money, and they give it to him.
And, so I've had the whole week with no income.
Oh,
and I've been
geez,
waiting
no
for
income
FedEx to
for the whole
arrive
week.
because somebody sent me an
Terrible.
emergency bailout check. I have a secret benefactor. He doesn't want to be named.
Yeah, I
But
wouldn't
he's
want
somebody I've known
want
for a
people to
long
know
time.
that I'm dumb enough to give you money either, David Wilcock.
Up at a bunch of conferences. He's helped me out online before. And he's actually been helping me with generous donations. And that's the only way I've survived. It's been very...
He's only surviving because people are donating money to him. I'm going to say that one more time. He claims he's only surviving because people are donating money to him. Not such a subtle way to beg for money, is it, David Wilcock? You're such a big star, but you can't make any money on your own. You have to beg retards for money. Or pardon the use of the R word, but in this case, you got to be mentally deficient to think that you should give money to David Wilcock because for whatever reason.
very, very intense. And I wrote him recently. I said, look, whatever is going on, there's something working very hard to try to keep me bankrupt.
William Runner, I wish I was a
All these
baller.
crazy
I
things
wish I
keep
was
happening,
taller. I wish I had a
and they
girl who
require
looked
money.
good.
As I said, I've been through 2 major lawsuit things that I just had to get through. That costs money. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, and meanwhile, he's saying that these lawsuits are costing him money, but I'm not aware that he actually hired an attorney in any of those cases. Like, I'd have to look at the paperwork again, but something's not right. Whatever.
It's very intense. It hasn't been very happy. And so he mailed me something last Friday, and it was supposed to be here by Monday with a major carrier. I won't say which one.
And then he says which one.
They didn't show up on Monday. They didn't show up on Tuesday. They didn't show up on Wednesday. And they finally showed up in late afternoon on Thursday after I'd already taken a nap.
After he'd already taken a nap. David Wilcock is telling everybody how terrible his life is. And meanwhile, he laid around his house for 4 days waiting for a check from one of his idiot followers. And the check didn't show up till after he'd taken a nap. He's taking naps waiting for his dumbass followers to send him free money. And now he's telling his audience how terrible that week was waiting for the free money.
And so every day I'm waiting for this delivery to show up, and the delivery doesn't arrive. But of course, because it's money that you critically need, you can't leave the house. So I got trapped in the house all week long.
Yeah. Oh, so terrible. I was trapped in a multi-million-dollar mansion with palatial mountain views, right? It was so terrible. I was stuck here for 4 days waiting for that free money.
Waiting for money because I almost said it. Somebody didn't arrive when they were supposed to arrive. You know, it might start with an F. That's all I'm going to say.
How dumb do you have to be to give free money to a guy who already lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion?
Look, I embrace.
And by the way, he's saying he's broke. He just got paid for that conference 2 weeks ago, right? Must not have been a very good payday. But then again, there was only, 100 people there? Only 100 people showed up to see you and Corey dumbass good, right? 100 or 150 people. These guys are huge egomaniacs, right? They're the rock stars of UFOs, and they do a live event and only 100 or 150 people show up. And then he must have blew through that money and the $4,000. Like, how many thousands of dollars a week is this guy going through?
Them, and I use them as much as anybody else. It was just that in this particular case, he only got the 2-day delivery.
He's doing the sniffing.
They're just like, 2 days, whatever. It could be 7 days. We don't.
Somebody said he was huffing paint
so
thinner before this stream.
So
I
this was
think
part
I believe
of the
it.
honor and duty thing.
I think he was huffing paint thinner.
2 days.
I think he huffs paint thinner right before he goes live. That's what I think.
Like literally,
that's where he gets this stuff from. He just huffs paint thinner, and it comes to him.
And it's a critically important package. So it's like, oh my God, what's going on?
Maybe he's huffing gasoline.
This has been
just a hell of a week. That's gross.
I literally couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't leave the house because
I couldn't. I'm waiting for a free money check.
And I find out at like 3:45 p.m. that they finally updated and said, no, we're still stuck in Broomfield, Colorado.
Probably.
We can't get it out of there. Or no, we're still stuck in wherever the original point was.
Yeah, they probably made 10 or 15 grand.
So anyway, it's pretty crazy. It's been a really crazy time. And then also with the
money.
various deals and negotiations. I mean, you have to understand with body aerospace, it's been like
the cheap paint thinner too
for 7 years now. All we ever do is hear about people who have money and do they want to invest.
Now he's going to cry and complain because nobody will invest in his shady, scammy aerospace company. But I'm going to explain something to you. His company has been caught lying about having government contracts. His company has been called a Ponzi and investment scam in court documents. His company ripped off vendors to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're being sued right now for all that money back. Maybe that's why, right? Or maybe that's why investors won't invest. Or maybe it's because that company has been in business for decades and has yet to produce, to my knowledge, a single product or service to sell. They have no income other than they rent the airplane hangar to a dumpster company that stores dumpsters in there. That's right. David Wilcock's airplane hangar is filled with dumpsters. How are they building anything in an airplane hangar that's being rented out and filled with dumpsters, right? How? Somebody needs to explain that to me. But he's going to keep crying that nobody will invest in his company.
And we're talking to them about their options. And, you know, it's just... We're in a fundraising mode, and until we're
been raising investment money for decades.
So
they never build anything with the money. Why?
Deals, 10-figure.
Why? Could it be because it's a scam company, David?
Dealing with a lot of these.
It's a Ponzi scheme, and
you know, it's
investment scam according to one investor.
And one of the things, unfortunately, that has happened to us far more than I care to admit is people who are completely fraudulent. And
now he's going to talk about con artists.
Fake and everything is a lie.
Everything that they're telling you is fake and everything is a lie. You're describing yourself, David Wilcock. The fact that David Wilcock is hypocrite enough to sit here and talk about other people being con artists as he's conning a live audience, telling them that he's in communication with angels who are telling him to sell angelic secret information for $333. It's amazing, friends.
And so we used to joke about this in Los Angeles among people in
Hot
Hollywood.
meat kettle,
It
yes.
was called the Tuesday-Friday game. This is an inside baseball term I'm giving you guys now. The Tuesday-Friday game. What does that mean? The Tuesday-Friday game is basically
Stunati,
one
fly the
sentence.
stupid
The sentence
airways.
is
Yes.
the money.
Fundraising mode.
So you get into some deal where you
yes.
put your money into something and you invest in something that somebody tells
Jail
you
time for
generate
Davy
this
Boy.
gigantic
Yeah.
return. And it's a really great story.
Sounds
It
like he's been dumb
wonderful,
enough to
and you're
get
like,
ripped
I
off
believe
by
this. I believe that
worst
this is,
Stevati.
I believe that the money is coming.
How long do we think it's
So
going to
then
be
they
before
tell
he
you that the money
turns?
is coming up.
Eventually, he's going to turn on Stevati when he realizes that apparently they took millions of dollars from him and they're never going to produce a single product or service that they promise. And they're certainly never going to produce free energy or hover cars. And this dumbass invested millions of dollars into that company. What happened to those millions of dollars, David, that you gave Stevati? What are they doing with all that money? And why do they constantly need money if they're not actually producing any products or services? Interesting.
On Tuesday, and they give you a whole story about Tuesday, and then you're all excited, and that keeps you going.
The
for
fees
week.
go in
And
the
then
pocket.
Tuesday shows
Yeah.
up, and there's no money. And then they come up with a new story, and they tell you, oh, the money is coming, but the money's coming on Friday. So then you wait the whole week, and you get to Friday.
Yes.
Well, you know, the guy,
Peekaboo
I'm
says,
sorry,
haven't
he's
they been
done his
around
diligence,
since like
he's paying the
92 and they've
paperwork, and
actually never
he
made
swears he's going
anything?
to have the
That's
money in
true.
escrow, but it'll be next
Been around
week.
for decades, never
Then you wait
made a
till
single
next
product,
Tuesday, and they're
service,
not,
or
you know,
airplane.
escrow didn't go through. He had this issue with his mother. She slipped and fell. And
He had to
he had to
stare at
take
a
the
poster of
emergency room. I mean,
Fabio
this is
while
how
trying to have
crazy it
sex
gets,
with his
okay? And
ex-wife
I've been
Elizabeth.
watching,
I believe that.
various documentaries now on con artists and psychopaths, including murderers.
I
I've watched
agree.
some
Sandra McDonald, he
documentaries that are
couldn't even
very hard to
afford
watch,
loss of use
where you
insurance to make
hear
any
serial
product as
killers
dangerous
being
as he's
interviewed,
proposing.
and they talk about
Yes.
killing people with the same level of detachment that
Yeah,
you
all he
talk
does
about
is talk about money.
going
Now
the
he's going to
grocery
talk
store.
about psychopaths.
Yeah, I stabbed him in the neck.
He's
You know,
somewhat of an
okay,
expert on psychopaths.
They don't really want to go. They admit sometimes that they don't like it, that it got too messy, it got too intense, it took too long. But even then, they don't really have any sense of remorse about it. And so, again, I studied this in college, and we all are familiar with the concept of a murderous, you know, evil psychopath like a Hannibal Lecter. And some of these shows just focus on those types of characters. However, there are other types that just checking on you guys, making sure you're still there. Okay, we are. So anyway, well, I want to talk about the Tuesday-Friday game here. So anyway, when we're looking at this stuff, they're always giving you a deadline that's just a little bit ahead in time, but it never really comes true. And so when you watch, there was one called Hollywood Con Queen.
Now he's going to,
really,
you know what else I think is funny? He's crying to everybody that he's completely broke, right? And then he mentions all these streaming services that are like $20 a month. And if you add those up, he's paying like $100 a month for television. And he's crying that, how many of you pay $100 a month for television? And he's crying that he's broke. High Speed Chase, thanks for being a member. And the kind and generous $2 super chat says, I would love to see him on bath salts. I think we are seeing him on bath salts, but thanks for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right, let's continue. I think it's so funny that he's going to talk about psychopaths for 20 minutes, I think. I previewed this. I was driving home from the cabin and I didn't have anything else to listen to. Boy, was that a boring ride home from the cabin listening to this nonsense.
shed the light on the Tuesday-Friday game. And this was a person who actually, as it turns out, was not primarily interested in getting money. And so throughout this whole documentary, which is on Apple TV Plus, and I've been watching
David or Joe Biden? I think David.
Different platforms. I'm watching Max. I'm watching Paramount Plus.
He's smoking spice, says William Runner. Thanks for being a member.
And I've watched some stuff on Apple TV Plus, and I think those are all the biggest streamers right now. So I'm watching stuff on all of them, and I'm just
That's
trying to get a
interesting,
gauge on,
Maltz.
like, okay, what are people seeing? what's out there in the zeitgeist right now, what
Puff
television
Puff
shows are into
Pass.
sci-fi, fantasy.
Wilcock has
those are the
that
kind of
bath
things
salt
I'm
look
most
to
apt
him.
like.
Yeah.
I also
He
sometimes
starts trying
like
to
a
eat
straight-ahead
people. We'll know what
procedural
happened.
CIA show where they're basically just trying to get you to join the CIA. Got a couple donations. Kenneth Gropp, $100. Wow, thank you.
Oh, stupid.
Haunted Doll says, I'm laughing at the
How can he
camera switch.
afford it? Yeah, he's supposed to be broke,
Vega
and he's spending all this
Gods
money
says, hey,
on
bro,
streaming
what you're doing is
services.
meaningful. Those of us who need this nourishment are thankful.
Listening to a Wilcock
So yes,
stream
and
is
then we got another one,
nourishment.
Valor7707, $20. Been following you for many years. I love and appreciate you. I'm a proud Wilcock groupie.
Yeah, 5x5 News says,
So
I think
this
we
is-
are
this is
always
cool,
seeing
you
him
know,
on
the
bath salts.
Tuesday-Friday game was enunciated in this show called Hollywood Con Queen. And again, the point I was going to make
He'd
is
eat his own
the
face with those
intentional
teeth.
infliction of emotional distress, and that is a criminal charge you can hang on somebody, okay? Might not be a
Poor
felony,
guy.
it would be a misdemeanor.
He just sits and
Intentional
waits for
infliction
his
of
money
military-
and
Oh,
love.
I
And
just saw this guy.
Yes.
Intentional infliction of emotional distress is what they want more than making money. So non-military, non-AAROG
You're
donated
right.
said,
Mike
I have
Rotunda, he's
constant
talking
light
about
being
con
contact.
artists.
Before my
That's like
stepmother
Turner
passed away,
talking
we saw
about
a
wife
purple sphere.
beaters.
The purple sphere was that for her. Usually see blue or gold.
You know, there's
yeah, I would say
there's a funny thing. Like Mike Turner was once asked in an interview, "Why did you beat Tina Turner? Why were you physically abusive to her?" And he said, "I never beat Tina Turner. I just punched her in the face a few times." That's terrible. Terrible. And by the way, I don't want to make a joke of domestic violence. It's very serious. If you or someone you know is affected, please find help, appropriate help.
definitely, if you're getting a light phenomenon around the time of
See,
someone's passing,
I'm always fascinated by guys that beat their wives, though. Like, who's that guy that just got caught recently with that video? Like, I don't know, man. I grew up on the mean streets of Philadelphia, but so did my wife. She came from a place called Kensington. Look it up. It's like the heroin capital of the East Coast, and it's pretty rough neighborhood. And there's a joke that Kensington, where the men are men and so are the women fight like men. They will, like, I would never lay my hands on my wife because she would beat me like a man. She fights like a man. We were playing around one time and she punched me one time so hard, and I couldn't believe that she could hit that hard because she's like 100 pounds, 5 foot nothing, you know. She's real dainty looking, but she knows how to punch, Mike Rotunda. You can't be domestically violent with a girl from Kensington. You'll wake up with no balls someday. They're vicious, them
which
Kensington
Violet
bitches.
Ray. And I'm glad you brought that up. We're also talking about these different chakra levels, and we're going to keep weaving in these topics. This is spherical thinking. The way I like to do this stuff is that, we're going to dive in and out
I
of
think you're
different
right,
topics.
Ghost. He's getting
So
himself
we've
in
got
more
con
trouble with
artists,
the
we've got
IRS.
psychopaths, but then we've also got the 7 densities that I was talking about as well.
Con artists and psychopaths. He's talking about con artists and psychopaths. Great.
And so this is all going to interconnect in a really beautiful way, because honor and duty, the topic of today's show, is what you get into when you go into fifth
Yeah, that's
density.
where I
That
grew
becomes
up,
the
Marina.
main thing.
I grew up
This
there.
is one of the most common misperceptions in the law of one.
Glad to be
is that
gone
people
from there.
think that because, okay, the universe is one mind, it's one consciousness, and it's a loving
Well, it's North
consciousness.
Philadelphia, actually,
If I learned to be
5x5 news.
loving, I've
But
learned the
yeah.
secret of the universe. I've
me and
nailed
Will
it all
Smith
down.
came
No.
from the same
That's only
Steve
fourth
City. That's
density.
interesting.
Universal love and the law of one cosmology only gets you up to 4th density. It doesn't get you all the way into even 5th density. And
Oh boy, word salad, new age nonsense. Oh, you got to get to a higher density. This is all the same new age nonsense. They never prove anything. There's no proof of different densities or any of this shit that they talk about. It's just word salad, new age nonsense.
then you've got 5th density, you got 6th density, you got 7th density. So I'm going to tie that in again, and then I'll go back to psychopaths and Hollywood con queen, because all this interrelates very nicely.
Form
The
3949A,
law of
information
one
referral for
cosmology,
fraud.
Essentially, I'm just going
Yeah.
to have to soliloquy here and not look at the comments for a second, so I apologize, but I got to focus on this. I don't want to get scattered. The law of one teaches us that there's only one identity.
Autobiographical in
There's only
nature.
identity,
Yeah.
and that identity is actually a loving consciousness.
Just him and the grift to the
that
forehead
is
density.
actually
Yes.
projecting 7 densities.
Davey sold his soul for the
of
cream. I don't know what the
existence
cream
into
is,
being.
right?
And then within those densities,
For the 333
there
bucks, I can get you there.
planets
Yeah, he can
There are
get you to the higher
stars, and then
density. Just
stars
send him
form galaxies.
$333.
And in the law of one system, a galaxy
Yeah,
is
I
an
heard about
intelligent
that.
super
Yeah,
creator
wasn't his
called
wife
Logos.
and him like cheating on each other, or
And
she
it's
was
a
banging
mirror
other
of the one
dudes or
infinite
something?
creator, which is
Weird.
also called Logos. So in the book
And
of
when the
John
moon is in
Bible,
the
it
seventh
says,
house,
in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was
Ring
God,
Around the Rosie with
and
David
the Word
Wilcock.
was with God. Now, this is actually incredibly enigmatic. It's a very, very
that would be
interesting
South Philly, Mike
phrase in
Rotunda.
terms of what the law of one does with it, because the original word that was being used for word in the book of John, if you go back to the Aramaic that was done
I love
there,
how he's an expert
it's
on everything,
actually
including
logos.
Aramaic now.
So in the beginning, there was the Logos, and the Logos was God, and the Logos was with God. That's actually God the Father, God the Son, where God the Father, Mother God, it's actually non-gendered. It's the whole one infinite creator. It's the whole universe of galaxies. And in my, Sacred Science of Microprophecies, I talk about the super galaxy, that the entire universe is this big, flat, lenticular galaxy made up of superclusters of smaller galaxies. And all those superclusters happen to be in a matrix geometry pattern. You look at the work of Inosto, you look at the work of Bataner and Florido, and you find out all of the superclusters of galaxies are organized in a big geometric grid.
Oh, it's a
and
grid.
It's really, really fascinating. I do all that geometry in Sacred Science of Microprophecies, which is available at https://thedisclosure.com. Now, the special offer I've got right now is 70 books for $70, and we'll talk about that a little later. That's for the Microprophecies. So I've discussed this many times before, and I didn't want to get bogged down in repetition of all the things that I've already said in previous shows. And like I said, I had this very depressing week where the mail just wouldn't arrive, and it makes me think about Tuesday, Friday games. It makes me think about how they tell you the money is coming, but then the money never arrives.
Oh, too bad.
So somehow all the money that you guys earned me last weekend by ordering my products, it's all been in limbo.
Oh my God, the horror. You have to wait a week to get the money. Sometimes I swear that these guys are like crackheads or something. And by the way, this is my own opinion and speculation, and I'm entitled to it. But we have seen in the court testimony with Corey Good that a donor gave him like $50,000. And 30 days later, he was completely dead broke and asking that donor for another $50,000. David Wilcock just said that 2 weeks ago, somebody gave him $4,000. Plus, I'm sure he got a check for appearing at the Corey Good Jerk-Off Fest, right? Disclosure Jerk Fest. And he's already broke. In a week or two, he's already broke and crying and complaining. Oh, people order my products and I couldn't get to the money right away. The horror. Like, what do they do to blow through thousands of dollars that fast? Am I just cheap or poor? Because if, and by the way, this is a big if, but I do want to put a hypothetical. Let's say that one of you kind and generous people sent me a $4,000 PayPal. I don't know what I would do with that money, but I would still have it the next month. I guarantee it, or most of it, right? But somehow somebody gives this guy $4,000 a week or two ago, and he's already crying and complaining he needs money desperately, and he's broke, and this is a financial emergency. What do they do with all the money? Are they smoking, $10,000 worth of crack a week? And by the way, I'm just speculating here because I don't understand how he could blow through $4,000 in a week or two.
And I even lost
plus the money he got paid for the conference.
Money yesterday. They took a bunch of money out of my account because of these chargebacks, and now I'm not going to actually get any of it until Monday.
And by the way,
it transfers over.
You know what some of those chargebacks might be? People that gave him the $333 and then said, this is bullshit. This book didn't come from an angel. There's no real prophecies here. And even though he says no refunds, you can tell your credit card to charge that person that sold you whatever you feel you were scammed. If you feel you were scammed, you could. No refunds doesn't mean shit. If you pay with a credit card, they'll charge it back. So maybe that's what's happening here, but I don't know. I'm just speculating.
For the weekend. So I literally had nothing, and I'm waiting all week for money to arrive and for this truck to show up. And finally, I laid down in bed on the last day because it said that he might not be here till 8 o'clock at night. and it's 3:30, and I just got to try to get some sleep. I'm so wiped out. I'm so exhausted. And then lo and behold, my dog goes, "Woof!" And I'm like, oh, here we go. You know, so I had to get out there, and then the barking starts, and like, Curly, calm down, you know. And then, wow, there it was. And so I just immediately opened it up, got the check, deposited it on my phone, went right back to sleep, slept like a baby. But I'm exhausted. I mean, a whole week where nothing is working out, and
he's exhausted.
Blindingly.
He's exhausted from hanging out in a multi-million-dollar mansion, waiting for a big check of free money to come from one of his idiot followers that's dumb enough to send him thousands of dollars. He's exhausted from sitting around a mansion all week. What did he do? Did he work all week? He didn't stream or anything. He's exhausted from waiting for free money from his stupid followers.
Poor. This has been what my life has been like all the time for 2.5 years now. And so it's hopefully going to end, but we need to close a deal. So Hollywood Con Queen, again, made me realize that intentional infliction of emotional distress is what con artists are really about. And unfortunately, with our company, we've had a number of these guys come and go.
He is saying that con artists are affecting his company. And meanwhile, his company is being accused of being con artists and running a Ponzi and investment scam in court documents. You got to love it. High-speed chase with a kind and generous $2. And thanks for being a member. The chargeback is from the Coke dealer. Praise the cash, bitches.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Yes, many people have speculated that many of these people are on drugs. You have to be on drugs to self-medicate yourself for lying to people every day. Lying to people every day of your life, I can imagine, would be corrosive to your soul. It would bother most people, but I don't think some of these people have a conscience. But there has to be a reason that him and Corey Good and some of these other clowns blow through thousands and tens of thousands of dollars like it's nothing.
We've had many deals that were purported to be real that turned out to be false. Some of them we could figure out right away. Some of them took a lot longer, but I'm really an expert now in being offered these types of cons and seeing how.
Oh, he's an expert in cons now.
Sometimes. And when the show said that it was really about intentional infliction of emotional distress, the guy didn't really make
psychopath or sociopath.
Yes. That's the whole basis of the psychopath. When you see these mass murderers,
how much would two of his courses
don't care
be?
About what they did.
$666.
They typically are very
News.
bored and they don't have a lot going on in life. They just feel kind of exhausted all the time, and they don't really like being alive, and so they get off on torturing and killing life. Some people do. Now there's a spectrum.
Oh,
the ones on the far end of the spectrum are going to actually be murderous. But the problem that these shows
maybe he's buying med beds for his followers. Yes,
but in a lot of cases, it's actually different.
He's a maniac. That's how, says Foxy Friends. Wilcock spent the hover car money on his teeth. One of his veneers.
Violent. They're not going to kill anybody. The non-violent psychopath is the thing that we
it
really
rots
have
you
a
from
hard
the
time
inside, says Jason
Somebody
Parker.
Janet Levine,
yeah, I couldn't lie to people every day.
So the non-violent psychopath is much harder to detect because
666. Imagine that, right?
They will give you lots of appreciation at first.
He's talking of himself. Problems
deify,
for sure. Yeah.
Denigrate and discard or destroy. Those are the three phases we talk about in the Michael books. Deify means that when you first get together with a psychopath, they're going to just pump you up. They're going to pump up your ego. They're going to say you're the best thing they've ever seen. And if it's a company like ours, they're going to tell you your company's amazing. We're so excited about the company. Da, da, da. Then, after they go through the deify phase, they go into the denigrate phase. Remember, the main thing they want is intentional infliction of emotional distress.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but how many of you think that this is a real story? Like, there's psychopaths that just want to inflict emotional harm on David Wilcock, so they pretend to be interested in his company. I don't know where he's getting this stuff from.
And I did the physiology on the psychopath's brain. I've done something nobody else had done before that I'm ever aware of, which is to combine all of the different brain regions affected in the psychopath. And it's actually 17 different regions. Three of them maybe actually are hypercharged. They
went to college for psychology.
For the rest.
He's an expert.
And the rest of these
molested by Pete Peterson. Gross.
Are left out of the 17. They're all essentially like atrophied brain tissue. Your tissue actually rots in your brain. It
Chris
would be
Johansson.
a smelly, rotten mess.
Yeah, Chris Johansson says most of us would find that type of grifting absolutely soul crushing. Working an honest job is the easiest way I have found. You know, Chris Johansson, I have had some really not good jobs. I'll just leave it at that. You know, I'm ADD and like most of my corporate career was in accounting or IT, sitting in a cubicle, and that's soul crushing. But I wasn't lying to people every day for money or telling people I had superpowers. I can imagine it's very soul crushing. And there's something about even a hard physical labor job. I once I got I got fired from my last corporate cubicle job. I just said, I'm never going back to a cubicle. I took a job digging ditches all day, and that was hard, dirty work, but it felt good working that hard and getting that paycheck, which was well deserved for all that physical work and labor. I don't know how these people live with themselves, but I have a conscience. I don't know that some of these people do.
They
just don't care how many people they scam. It's amazing.
In your brain. And it was fascinating because
got a rotten
Angel
brain.
Michael was giving me dreams that I was going to discover all these scientific facts in the 1990s. Time looped in as I went through.
Oh, the angel told them about the rotten brains. Yes.
And said, okay, where are the brain regions of the psychopath that are affected? Well, it turns out there's a whole bunch of them. The whole frontal lobe area. You got the, I don't even want to go through it all because there's so many of them. Dorsolateral.
Yeah, Sarah Adams is another one of them. Yeah.
Orbitofrontal cortex. I mean, it just goes on and on.
A smelly rotten mess sounds like a review comment from one of his books.
Strange part of the brain. It just goes on and on. But one of the ones that really struck me the most was the striatum, which is near the corpus callosum in the middle of the brain. And this is an area in which it usually fires up when people feel pleasure. And in the brain of the psychopath, this area has to overcompensate for all the deficiencies in other areas. And so the most fascinating discovery for me...
Oh my God, we're 29 minutes in. Has he said anything of value yet in 29 minutes, 30 minutes? Nothing of value in 30 minutes.
Was that the striatum itself, which is associated with pleasure response, fires up...
He's snorting too much nutmeg. He's starting to look like a Christmas gnome. Says John Lies.
They actually get off on it. Psychopaths enjoy causing pain to others.
That's why we see so much of his frontal cortex. Could be above the clouds.
Frontal lobes, if you're a healthy
Thanks for
person,
being a member.
Your brain is working appropriately. The frontal lobes give you empathy, give you feelings of compassion, feelings of forgiveness, and all of these things segue into honor and duty in the law of one system. Honor and duty is the fifth density. So as we're going through the densities...
Oh, I can imagine. That's hard work. I used to watch Deadliest Catch. I love that shit, Mr. Hansen. I would never do that for a living, but I loved watching you guys do that.
Of the earth, air, fire, and water, the
that's
elements,
a weird
the
career,
the
right?
atoms
Commercial fisherman.
that make up your body, that make up your
hard physical labor does leave you feeling satisfied.
So you have this elemental first density awareness. Now
he lived on WebMD, self-diagnosing himself.
Density, yes. They are only elemental. They only have lava, and water, and wind, and then the lava becomes earth. And the
Alex Jones XXX says he is a psychopath.
Fiery volcanoes.
That's why he knows so much about psychopaths, I guess.
You got air and you got water. And the water comes off
him,
the
by the
surface
way.
of the star.
Him talking about
Every
honor
star
and
gives
duty.
Off tons of hydrogen and oxygen, which then combines into water in the atmosphere once it gets to us.
If you say so, Hank.
There will be frozen water in interstellar space. So the water comes right from the star, and that's a very interesting thing too to learn about. So all of this is because we're actually in a biological universe. The DNA molecule itself is enfolded into the quantum vacuum. Basic water molecules will form into DNA. That was proven by the Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Luc Montagnier. And so Dr. Luc Montagnier...
I'll give him this. He does have a fairly good memory for spouting bullshit, right?
Showed that if you take a tube of distilled water that has nothing but water in it, and then you put another tube next to it that has DNA and distilled water in it, and you electrify both of them with 7 hertz, which is the Earth's basic, Schumann
What a
resonance.
load of crap. Yes.
After 18 hours, the water that was just distilled water has DNA in it, and it's provable. And
Maybe
it's
he's
replicable,
huffing
and
the
it has been
gases from a
replicated. So DNA is a
Yellowstone
quantum
volcano.
byproduct of this fact that we have one intelligent creator in the univerce. So
Yeah,
creator
I'm not a
built the
psychiatrist, but that
universe. It has
sounds
7
dead on to me. 5 by
densities,
5
and they
news. A
represent essentially
psychopath
like a class
with
curriculum
narcissistic personality
of the
disorder.
things that you need
Yes.
to learn in order to graduate. And graduation is reunifying with your identity as the one infinite creator. That's what we're
He
here
talks
for.
a lot, but says
The universe
nothing.
had to fragment into all
Good.
these billions of galaxies, and on those billions of galaxies are billions of worlds where there are
No, I'm not here
different
nightly.
types
Oh,
of
by the way, that reminds me.
flesh and blood embodiments. The human.
I want to take a moment to thank all you kind and generous benefactors. Over the weekend, we did 3 12-hour long deep dives, one on the Skinwalker scam, one on Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp and all their fake stories, and one on Bob Lazar, which was the most well-attended. I want to thank all of you people. I suddenly realized recently that one of the things that we are doing here is not just trying to entertain people. That's certainly an aim here. This is a form of entertainment, strange form of entertainment. I'll give you that, but it's still a form of entertainment. But we're trying to educate people. And one of the things I realized with these 12-hour deep dives is that I didn't even realize this, but one of the things that we are doing here is compiling overwhelming evidence of scammery, fraud, thievery, deception, and more. And somebody sent a nasty comment like, oh, if you need 12 hours to pretend somebody's a liar, no offense, but if somebody can cover you selling fake stories for 12 hours straight, or give 12 hours worth of evidence for why your story is fake, like in the case of Bob Lazar, then they're probably correct. I've never been big on, let's just say that I think that showing people 12 hours of evidence that somebody is a fraud is an overwhelming way to prove that point. And so we're going to continue that. And this weekend, though, we're doing something a little differently. I put together a bunch of shows on different topics: the Bermuda Triangle, Chupacabra, Orang Pendik, and other things like that, these old mysteries. And we're just going to call that one Enduring Mysteries, a deep dive into the world's greatest enduring mysteries. And on Saturday night, I've putting together a 12-hour deep dive of David Wilcock coverage, but it's the oldest stuff. So if you've just joined our channel recently, or you're a recently new subscriber that probably is new to you, we'll be doing that this Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to keep these 12-hour long deep dives going, but to be honest, I don't know how much material I have, so this might be the last weekend for that.
Form is apparently very popular throughout the universe. About 40% of all the planets in the entire freaking universe, according to Law of One, have some type of humanoid being on them. So the human design.
Yeah, according to a channeled book from a spiritual guru.
Unfortunately, I'd love to know.
I love how
but whatever it is,
he pretends that since it's written in the Law of One, it's 100% true. That's a channeled book of nonsense by a New Age grifter.
It's probably not that different.
Who, by the way, he used to work for. That's where he learned the spiritual guru grift, from Carla Rutger.
But this specific type of human pattern has been very widely implemented throughout the cosmos. So what we're dealing with on this planet is no different than other civilizations dealt with, who then evolved into much vaster levels of spirituality,
David Wilcock,
technology,
good psycho,
where they have conscious control over energy.
He should marry Anjali. Yeah, I thought he should marry Anjali, or that.
So you know what I'm talking about.
That's Sarah R. Adams' crazy superpower lady.
And then it says
right?
in the Law of One that the action of wind upon water, the action of water upon earth.
Yes, you're right,
Mr. Hansen.
Absolutely.
As they come together.
He better enjoy the script while he can, because he's in a world of legal troubles.
Density,
yeah, we hear about
where
that.
Where this quantum life wave that creates DNA will then form. Just like we saw that all it took was Schumann resonance. Earth,
I agree, Marina.
And the water.
We do our best to do that
DNA
here.
Experiment, right? The DNA is a quantum background thing. It's just
thanks for your comment and your attendance tonight. Glad to see you.
Our science hasn't gotten. There's no DNA equation that'll tell you that. But observationally, we know it's true. My whole first book, Source Field Investigations, I was offered an honorary doctorate just for the stuff on DNA in the first half. I still haven't collected it, but
Yeah, from a new age
peer review and
bullshit.
all
Yeah,
this kind of stuff.
bullshit.
I haven't had time.
Honorary
And
doctorate.
I don't know if I really need
for
to
your
do
bullshit.
it. People wouldn't say Dr. Albert Einstein; they just say Albert Einstein. So I think I've proven my own mettle.
Yes,
by
Hank,
now.
if your
Kind of
grandmom
told
sent
people
him
to
her
just
last 5K,
casually
you would
say
feel
helpful
different, I
things.
think. And that's his victims,
how
old
many
ladies.
of them have written as many books as I did? I've got at least like 14, 15 books I've written that are all amazing. And there's 7 books alone in my book. So
if you have to tell people that your books are amazing, then you're an egomaniac piece of shit. I'm just going to say that. I've written all these books and they're all amazing. No, they're all filled with lies, David Wilcock. And if you put David Wilcock's books in a plagiarism checker, they come back 50 to 60% plagiarized, which means he just copies and pastes a bunch of shit into a book, writes some other shit. Now, he does provide his sources. He cites the sources, but when you buy a book, do you really expect that that author just copied and pasted half the book from other people's work? That's weak, David Wilcock. That's not even your ideas. It's just compiling shit that you copy and paste into your books.
2 of them actually were New York Times bestsellers, and that's also something very rare. It's very, very difficult to get that.
What is his last book?
Many other authors
self-published.
Never get one. So it's
and by the way, he bought a lot of his own books to get that
the equivalent
accolade.
Of 4 that should have made it on the list, and 2 of them were suppressed because they didn't like what I had to say. It's very, it's a closed system in there. So anyway, the teachings of honor and duty. When we get through the densities, we have wind and water.
Half
all
his
the elements
reviews
that
are written
come
by
together
him.
and they form second density life.
They don't even make good toilet paper. His book says
bacteria
Michael
on Earth
Padilla.
formed approximately
Thanks for being a member.
3.8
Welcome.
billion
Thank
years
you for
ago.
being here.
But to go
His books
from
really are word
liquid
salad.
water
I've
to
read a few. Yeah,
complex
me too. They're word
bacterial
salad nonsense.
multicellular life, you've already got all of the basic problems of evolution
I
solved
agree.
right there.
Troll. He wouldn't have turned that down. He would have milked it until the cows came
appeared
home.
on our planet. Our planet's only 4 billion years old. Water arrived 3.8 billion years ago, and so did bacteria. So therefore, you look at the Montagnier experiment again, you say, okay, we can create life out of just plain elements because there is a life wave that will arrange elements together.
Oh, it's just a life wave. That's where life comes from.
Through everything from bacteria to
secret
plants,
space
to
plagiarism
fish,
program.
birds, animals, everything that we see.
He's in the secret space plagiarism program.
Except for
Absolutely.
Beings, including whales and dolphins. There's no special New Age exemption. I don't know what you punters are thinking that the dolphins are third density, mate. Just trust me. If you ever been around those creatures in the ocean, they can get a bit randy, if you know what I'm saying. They might try to do things that you really wouldn't want, if you catch my drift, mate. Yeah, we don't want to worship dolphins. Rudd VD, thank you very much. He said, do you do your own hairdo or do you go to a salon? I actually did cut my own hair. I just took about an inch off because I said, I don't have time to go anywhere. So anyway, whatever. I'm too busy to get a real haircut. If somebody wants to insult me about that, that's fine. But, I spent all week waiting for money. How do you go get your haircut if you're waiting for a truck and it never shows up? And it's already too late in the day every day. It was just
now he's going to use that as an excuse for why he looks like shit.
just crazy. Anyway, next week I probably will get a real haircut, but we'll see what happens. So with all this stuff that I'm saying, you get into second density is all animals, plants, birds, and fish. And then third density becomes human life.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see why any Australians would follow this guy as much as he makes
the law
fun
of
of
one
them.
says we have something called the choice.
Yeah, spiritual
It's the
gurus
choice
don't make
between
fun
whether
of
to
whole
be of
groups
service
of
to
people.
self or
but
service to others. And this is something
he
that
produces
happens on every
something. Yeah,
single
he
one of these
produces
billions of
bullshit,
planets
Hank
all throughout
McGirt.
the universe, which again, 40% of them have human beings on.
Now he needs money for a
All go through
haircut.
this phase.
Yeah, everybody
They
better
appear to
donate.
have
I need a
evolved in
haircut.
some type
I
of
need a
Darwinian
haircut too,
way
by the way.
out of
Above the
whatever
clouds. But thanks for your comment.
indigenous forms of life were on the planet. We apparently were
I wish they
evolved
would
out
too,
of
Admiral
apes, as
Rascals.
Darwin
Yeah.
said. There are other human forms that evolve out of birds, that evolve out of aquatic life, that evolve out of all different types of animal life that we've seen on Earth. And so that's why
Flubber Lane says, go get a job,
a variety
Wilcock.
of different odd configurations.
Where's it going to work?
Where it would appear
McDonald's,
that
Burger
a
King?
different type of animal in second density is turned into an intelligent humanoid.
I once was in charge of a whole bunch of people at one of my jobs, and one of the guys was like a conspiracy theorist nutter, like Wilcock, and he was always talking to everybody else in the office. I almost had to fire the guy because he wouldn't shut up. That would be David Wilcock. He can't hold a real job. He would start telling people about third density and taking baths in your own piss, and he would get fired.
This is part of what they call investment. Apparently, a galactic logos, has individual stars that are also logoi. Those stars are individual logoi, which means one logos. Okay.
Richard
Or you
Warner,
can call
send
the
me
star
some
the
links.
logos
Email
as well.
me some links. Ammo
Using the
Hillman.
term.
Not familiar
Logoi
with,
is usually
with
more
that
plural.
at all.
So when a star is a logos, it decides what type of life, what type of second density life on its planet,
It could be the rent
planet,
boy.
that it will invest with
Cashier at
human
Circle K on the graveyard
evolution
shift.
to
Yes.
evolve into a humanoid form. So it may not pick monkeys and apes like it did with us. It may pick something else, and it may steer.
Oh, now he's saying there's
biological
aliens that are
evolution
like
of that
birds. There's
DNA
aliens that are like
so that
lizards.
the humanoid form becomes, let's say, reptilian. Some stars, apparently, the Rigel star in the constellation Orion is a
Yeah,
massive
Aaron Flores, never
reptilian
talk about that
infested
stuff at work.
place.
I agree.
The star
And when people
Rigel,
think
for
you're a
whatever reason,
wackadoo,
decided to make
right?
reptiles into humans.
You can
And
call
then
up
they
good and they
apparently
can
became
preen each
racist
other,
and went
make a
around the
spa
galaxy,
day of
according
it.
to Uncle Jack, the
Gross.
same guy with the glasses. They went. In fact, let's do another Jacob routine. What the hell? All right, they went all over the galaxy, these reptilians, and they were racist, mate. They found other species of reptiles.
Yeah.
And they said, we like you guys right here.
Michael Orlean
So
says
we
he's
just want to bring them
repulsive.
all together and add all of their different talents and traits and create this.
Yeah, can I get you anything, Patty? Like a watch, maybe?
Deal with, mate. It's called the Draco.
No, we're always happy when
So
you're
that's
here,
true.
Patty
That's
Wilhelm.
stuff that I've
Welcome.
heard about for a long time. The organized evil reptilians, and so that would be an example.
Yes,
of a
better
planet
late than
that was
never.
invested
Absolutely.
where
And
the
besides,
sun
women always
decided
have to be
to
fashionably
invest
late. They
reptilian
got to make
life
an entrance and make
into
sure everybody
human
knows they're here.
Not every star is going to do that. A lot of stars are not going to do that. Our star did not do that. Our star chose the more simplistic idea of
Foxy's
a
friends could picture
monkey
him as
type
the
of form,
Hamburglar.
but
Yeah.
there would be a whole different
Scam
pattern of
burglar.
DNA evolution to find
David Wilcock,
specific-
scam burglar.
the layers of rock under the surface when we drill in there and we find fossils.
I
If you
know.
were on a
I'm
different
telling
planet
you.
that evolved into
It's
reptilian
wacky.
life, you would see the missing link. You would see the reptile simian forms before they became fully bipedal human. And all that would be in the fossil record, and you wouldn't question anything.
There are people way more
So we're
famous and
still
smart
only
than
up
him
to
that
third
ended
density.
up homeless. That's
Now, the
Sandra
law of one really
McDonald.
gets
Thanks for
interesting
being
when
a
we go
member.
into fourth density, because even at this level, you become a super being compared to even what Jesus was doing. That's why, again, John 14:12,
Yeah, maybe,
Jesus
yeah.
said, as I do these things,
As I do these things,
these
you
miracles,
will do
so
them
shall ye
too.
do them, and
And greater things.
for I go unto my Father, Mother God. So Jesus is openly predicting that we're
Yep.
going to have
Canadian
abilities far
girlfriend
in
guy.
excess
Yeah,
of the
that's
miracles
Wilcock.
that we saw, which would
Always
include
reminds me of Michael Cera
spitting
from
on a woman's
Superbad.
eyes
I
and
agree.
curing her of blindness.
I could imagine David Wilcock,
raising Lazarus
one of
from
those
the dead.
door-to-door magazine subscription salesmen. Yeah, me too.
Lots of different miracles
Above the
involving
clouds.
manifestations of, water into wine, loaves of
Blasphemy,
fishes,
says
taking
James
one
Prepper.
loaf
I
of
agree.
bread,
Him
one fish,
using
and
Bible to sell his grip
chronocloning it
is
so that it
something
could
else.
feed 5,000 people.
James Pepper.
Then you've got him walking on water. And one of the ones that we really missed that I talk about in the Michael prophecies, the voice of power. This was one of the most impressive things about Jesus that just got lost in the
Yeah,
sands of
you
time.
weren't
The
banned. I
fact
don't
that
know
he could
what.
speak with an incredibly
Yeah,
loud
definitely
voice that
blasphemy.
would shake the walls and the floors and everything around you. And this was really why they called him the Lion of Judah. And it was also something the angels could do. And probably one of the main reasons why they were called mighty ones is that in addition to having this incredible luminosity that would come off of them, they also had this incredibly booming voice that would just, terrify everybody. So I love talking about this stuff because when we get into the higher densities, it's not
the
as simple
higher
as you might
density.
think to understand. The fourth density being is already more capable of doing miracles than Jesus demonstrated in the Bible. That's what apparently all of us are now transitioning into on Earth.
Yeah,
Those who
we're
are
all
still
getting
here, those who are
superpowers.
still alive, if you can hang on until 2025, which again is only a year away, you're probably going to experience this. Unless you're, there might be a few of the very most evil people in the satanic groups that are definitely not going to be able to stay here, and they might disappear, flash of light kind of thing when this happens, and they go to their own place. but I don't think there's really going to be very many of those, because most of these people have figured out now, like, okay, we better get on the right side of history, and they're becoming heroes.
Oh my
and
God,
that's a
we're
big part
heroes.
of
We're all
honor,
becoming
duty,
heroes.
and why I'm talking.
And we're all going to
today
get
about it,
superpowers as well.
their level of spirituality that they're functioning at, to them, it's an integrated system.
I
But
agree,
if you
Richard.
study it from within the law of one perspective, and you're just very pragmatic about it, their philosophical foundation
It's got to be a
crumbles
special place in
into
hell
what the law of
for
one would call
grifters that use
negative
Jesus and
surface to
angels
self-philosophy.
to scam people
It
out
just
of
doesn't
money.
hold up
Richard
as an
Warner.
enlightened practice that you can continue doing as you go higher through universal evolution. You can go up to 5D negative, and that's actually where the being we would think of as Satan or Lucifer resides.
Patty Wilhelm. This is just
So
more
fourth
New Age
density,
nutty.
again, is you can
Nuttery.
do all
Yeah.
kinds of miracles.
Wilcock's
You
Cult
can
of
even
One.
morph the way that your body looks. You
Oh, you could
change
shapeshift.
into any as you get more
Like
developed.
Mystique from the
you can
X-Men
change into any
movies.
form that you want
Damn.
people to see.
You can change it in any
and there's no
form.
limit
This
on
sounds like
that.
the X-Men
You can
movie.
fly, you
Mystique.
can bilocate yourself. You can be in more than one place at a time. You're aware of your past lives. You're aware of your higher self. You're aware of
Yay, one more
spiritual
year and
knowledge.
we change water
And what
into
you end
Jim
up doing when you
says
become
Elmer
fourth density is
Morehouse.
typically
Yeah, we'll
going
all
to
have
third density
superpower. We'll be able
worlds
to do miracles.
and
Water to
being
wine,
angels for
whatever.
them. You become angels for humans like
Let's
us.
push back to
who are
2025
actually
now.
just trying to
Yeah,
get
he
through life.
changed the
We got
date,
2 big
Marina.
donations. Gina, $100. Tweety, $49.99. Thank you for everything. You are a godsend, and you will be okay. I appreciate that.
The best
I don't
guys
wanna
will,
be
the bad guys will go
worshipped.
poof.
Said,
Yes, the bad guys will go
non-military,
poof.
non-AARO says, this is the material
Poof.
Casey is best at. I can feel the peace and compassion flowing. Thank you. Appreciate that. I do like doing the philosophy. I think that the philosophy is kind of underrepresented a lot of times in my work, and I
Oh,
do
he's
apologize for
teaching
that.
everybody
But,
philosophy.
part of the honor and
7
duty that I
camera
felt,
angles.
what I wanted,
Yes.
why I wanted to talk about this
He's a
topic is,
theological scholar now,
fourth
says
density
Michael
is
Padilla.
great. And
Yes.
fifth density, where you get to the level that you project a human form that
It's
can
a
look
sin
just
against
like
the
everybody
Holy
else
Ghost when he
on
mocks
that given
God.
planet. You can project.
I
into
agree,
any
James
human
Pepper.
body that
It's
you want people
blasphemy,
to see.
100%.
You could look like a reptile person.
And by the
you
way,
could look like
James
an insect
Pepper
person,
is
you could look
a
like a
sort of
bird
religious
person.
guy who's
Just got
he's making his own Bible, which we covered here once. It's incredible. He's like hand making his own Bible. So he's very well acquainted with the scriptures. And isn't it interesting, James Pepper? You know the test of a prophet from the Bible. If the prophet is wrong one time, they're not in communication with divine or angelic sources. David Wilcock is wrong hundreds of times. There's no way he's a real prophet. He is a false prophet. And he is blaspheming by using Jesus and angels in his scams, in his New Age scams.
$20 from Jules West. Thank you very much. So all of those things are available to you when you get to this level. Fifth density.
Next, he will start doing this show in religious garb.
And it's
Yeah.
a relatively difficult mental configuration.
I could see that.
So they say. So the fifth density negative form of Lucifer.
Socrates would
projects
slap the
into
crap out of him.
Lucifer's palace in Antarctica, as we've now learned. And so that's another fascinating thing that came out from when Chris Beskar decided to give me more inside info.
Oh, yeah, he's got
the
inside
Laughlin-
information
not
from the
Laughlin,
scammy
but,
head of
that's
his
where we used to be in
aerospace
the
company
National
who
Congress.
says Lucifer has a
Loveland.
castle in Antarctica.
Colorado. Laughlin,
So
Loveland. See how
stupid.
my
What's your
brain works.
evidence of that? Well, this guy said it,
Anyway,
so it's true.
Getting back to the point
He's
here,
got inside
fifth
information.
density is where you can now project into any type of body that you want to have. Whereas in fourth density, you have the heritage of what your planet's
The
evolution
only
led
prophet
you
he
to.
is
So you
is
might
when
have
the
a
truck
bigger head,
arrives with
bigger
free
eyes than
money.
you were human in third density.
True, 5
And
by
in
5.
fact, when we
Yes.
become fully fourth density humans, one of the things it says in the Michael Prophecy books is that we are going to get larger eyes. And so we're going to get kind of a maybe larger head, a little bit larger head. Not like a gray, but definitely
He should do a puppet show.
bigger and
Maybe
more
I'll do
striking
that here,
eyes
John
than we
Lies.
have now.
I have done that here.
And then in book 4 of the Michael Prophecies, I talk about multiple eyewitness testimonies from the 1950s where people saw these types of humans. And even the beings that crashed in Roswell. They weren't really grays. They looked like children.
Lou Cypher's place,
They had very
yes.
skinny bodies, but they had really large, beautiful eyes.
Oh, good
And
for
so
you,
this
John
is
P.
part of
Adventures.
what we are going to end up having happen to us. I don't know if we're going to lose hair. I think we might still have hair, but there's definitely going to be a very pronounced.
Well, some of us will
difference in
still
the way
have
that we
hair.
look once we get these fourth density bodies, and
Oh, we're getting
it
fourth
says in
density
law of one,
bodies
once
now.
you get a fourth density body,
Kind of like he
learn
promised
over
everybody
time
rainbow bodies.
how to cloak its visibility from third density. I guess if you didn't learn this technology, consciousness technology, you could actually end up projecting in some form where you get seen as kind of like this ghostly image, similar to what happened to Obi-Wan Kenobi after he
Like a
was killed by
force
Darth Vader in
ghost.
Star Wars.
Oh, wow. You get to be
So
a
that would
force
be what would
ghost.
happen. You have to learn how to hide that from the third density viewer. So again, fifth density.
All right. We're going to be able to be
is
force
where you
ghosts
now
like
can
Obi-Wan
project into human
Kenobi.
form. You
Awesome.
can project your own spaceship as well. So the type of
Legal
stuff
Eagle
that
with
I
a
was
kind
reading
generous
about
$5
last
super
week in
chat.
College
And thanks
Creation
for being a
Self-Short Story,
member.
which I really
Praise
love,
the cash,
by the way.
bitches.
That was a story that really has a lot of fifth density in it. He goes outside the alien complex. He creates his own spaceship. And then he puts himself inside the spaceship, and then he fights through the 97 levels. I'd forgotten to mention that level 97 is where the fight ended. And that was the first real full year where the Michael prophecy contact actually started for me, 1997.
Yeah, and
So
isn't it
level
great
97
that
seems to have some prophecy.
he was talking to angels since 1997, and throughout all of his new age scamming and grifting since 1997, he never mentioned it until like a year ago when he needed new material. He never mentioned that he was communicating with the Archangel Michael. He said he was communicating with the Egyptian god Ra, and now he says that the Archangel Michael pretended to be the Egyptian god Ra and lied to him. Angels don't lie, David Wilcock, you dumbass. That's scripturally and biblically incorrect. An angel would not lie to someone. You know what does lie to people? Demonic entities and forces, though, David.
There. But if you remember in the story last week,
demonic entities and forces love egomaniacs who want to be prophets. That's where a lot of false prophets come from. People communicating with demonic entities.
he breaks through all 97 levels. He gets inside. He goes through a room that a door that has gargoyles on it. He has to nuke his way through with a drill. And then he gets in there and he finds this human-looking person. But when he shoots at it, it doesn't die. And it just says, ha, 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 I'm a projection. And earlier along, the being that got him to take the mushrooms is probably Lucifer as well. And it showed up at certain
The
points.
devil wants you to take some shrooms, damn it.
So these beings don't really have a body unless they want to. And according to law of one, the fifth density negative companion, which is their name for Lucifer, rarely ever projects into a body. It usually just stays
He's also
outside
Edgar Casey and Saint Germain.
Form. But apparently, as we
Good
now
point.
know, when you go to this Lucifer's palace in Antarctica,
angels don't want nothing to do with him.
there
It
it
says
is.
above the clouds.
Here's this being, and it's going to project.
Plenty of
into
room
human
on that
form.
forehead for horns.
And remember, Buzz Aldrin got very, very sick when he went down there, and they had to airlift him out, a medevac. Well, I don't know what happened, but if you're going to be around Lucifer, you're probably going to see some really horrific stuff, and it might cause people to have a stroke or a heart attack.
Oh,
So that could have been what that was
if
about.
you see
I don't
Satan,
know.
you have a
I'm
stroke.
not speculating. I'm just
Nice.
implying. But we're trying to do an investigation here. We've heard some weird stuff about Antarctica.
Yeah, you're right,
We know
Marina.
that a bunch of
The real estate
politicians
market
go
is
down
crazy.
there, and apparently they're having their own in-person
Yes, now
meeting with
Wilcock
Lucifer in
presumes
this
to
incredible
rewrite the
palace.
Bible.
So that's a fifth density negative. Now, in very basic terms, there's two lessons you got to
A
learn.
lot of past claims, absolutely,
love and
Foxy
wisdom.
friends. Yeah, people forget
Law of
all
one
the
explains this. So in fourth density,
big
you
shit
learn
he's
love.
been talking
And
about
in
forever.
fifth density, you learn wisdom. So the fourth density being, as amazing as it sounds, to have the ability to fly, to bilocate, to remember your past lives, to act as an angel for other people on other planets,
Yeah,
hiding behind
you're right,
the scenes,
William Runner.
guiding them without
People are
them realizing
desperate,
that you're there.
and they're feeling scared.
Those
and
beings still lack
You're
wisdom.
right, William
They
Runner.
don't have the wisdom to avoid being naive. a
So
lot of
hanging
times
around
you have
Wilcock will
ET
cause health
souls or
issues.
wanderers
Probably,
who
yeah.
incarnate in human form, and then they don't
That is not a
remember
forehead, says Michael Padilla. It is a
their
five-head.
true nature. That's
We'll
part
allow
of
it,
the contract.
yes.
I've talked about wanderers a bunch. It's a human being like us who's here with us, but they have an ET soul, angelic soul. Well, if you're a fourth density wanderer, then you didn't really learn the lessons of wisdom. And so you have love
The
without
lessons of
wisdom,
wisdom.
which means you just love people and you're not picking up on psychopaths. You don't understand that there's people out there where their striatum, the pleasure center, is getting off on people being hurt. That's been scientifically proven. They show you these pictures of somebody getting their hand caught in the car door, and these people are like, oh, yeah, I like that. Their brain is showing, oh, yeah.
And he is definitely
somebody's going,
busting every
they're like,
bullshit meter
I
on
like
Earth
that. So
right
that's
now.
why they want to watch horror movies or whatever they're into. This is a fascinating thing that's true. So when you're dealing with the psychopath brain, I would essentially say they are.
Yeah, I'm still
capable of
stuck
duty.
thinking
They
I'm
can do
driving around
duty.
delivering
They don't
heavy
really ever
boxes
have honor.
while David is taking a
Because
nap
honor
and
is
waiting for
essentially
free
something
money.
that
Great,
grows out
says
of morality.
Kimmy
And again, we're talking about the teachings of honor and duty.
KMMI77.
That's the main topic title. So you can have duty.
Richard
I've
Warner is
seen
truly amazed at
plenty
his
of examples
nonstop
throughout
mouth.
time of psychopaths who work very hard. They have a very strong sense of duty. If they're like in some type of
all this BS has a
evil, fascist type of government, they might have a very strong sense of duty about what they're doing. And they might even have honor to their own inside group. But this form of honor is really about
Patty says all this BS has a pattern to it. We'll see it in the longer stream later this weekend.
So again, in fourth density, you've learned the basic lessons of love. In order to graduate into fourth density, we have to be slightly more loving than we are service to self.
He goes and goes and goes.
Service to others in law of one. So the whole basic point is you have
Wilcock
to be helpful, kind,
organizing an army
supportive,
against God. Yeah.
Passionate.
Shouting to invisible angels who betrayed him.
Patience and compassionate.
10 years he'll be homeless, pushing a shopping cart, talking about angels betraying him.
It is this guy in the mental hospital, by the way. I met him, but that's another story. That's not true. I'm just making that up. Just trying to have some fun with you.
You're making all of this up.
So when we get into fifth density, what we're dealing with now is that there are
above the cloud says, I just lost brain cells listening to him.
Most people put prevalence on. If you're looking at traditional spiritual texts, they for the most part are fourth density. The Bible is for the most part fourth density. The Quran is for the most part fourth density. Buddhism is very fourth density. There's some fifth density in there too. Hinduism has some fifth density in it, a lot of fourth density.
Yes, he pretty much says the same things every show, and maybe a little twist here and there.
Fourth density is love without wisdom.
The tornado missed David's house.
Fifth density, you gain wisdom.
Must be the angels protecting his home.
Key words that the law of one mentions almost every time.
Watching a crook in action, absolutely amazing.
At this, I realize
Richard Warner.
Psychopaths are not capable of fifth density.
Now he's going to talk about psychopaths too.
They're not capable of some of the most basic things that you have to do, like honesty is one of the biggest fifth density teachings. Honest communication. So in the body,
Marina doesn't understand how he could get one date with a woman, let alone get a woman to agree to marry him.
You're up to now.
Well, she wised up and left,
of
right?
These energy centers that are represented by the colors of the rainbow.
Operation Shutdown says, I tuned in to learn about the Quran.
And they correspond.
Yeah, it's called the Quran, David Wilcock. Say it right. It's disrespectful to say it wrong every time. He says Quran.
So I wore a dark blue shirt because I wanted to
describing himself
these blue-ray chakra colors. I mean, I could have worn light blue, but I decided to go with dark blue.
He uses every new age buzzword. He does. Total nonsense, says Jason Parker.
The Law of One makes some very provocative statements saying there's 7 densities in the universe. They're each like a level of existence.
Oh, they're like a level of existence.
All of them at the same time.
Okay.
And you have bodies that live in each one. So you have a 4th density body, you have a 5th density body, 6th density body, and a 7th density body.
Oh my God.
Somewhere in time, those bodies
we have 7 bodies.
And then they
one for each density.
In
of course.
Energy field as chakras.
What's his
proof
for this? I read it in some bullshit New Age book, so it must be true.
Density energy body that actually exists on its own. In its own place in space and time.
Imagine Wilcock on an 18-hour airplane flight. Who needs TV?
But in your conscious waking persona in 3rd density now, you have what the Law of One calls a personality self.
Oh, we have a personality self,
made
so
up
it's
of
okay.
The biases, the prejudices, the strengths and weaknesses that you have as a person. There's a real strong lack of forgiveness right now that the media has tried to push on us with racial ideology, getting people divided among race and saying certain races are good and certain races are bad. I'm just dazzled that there's this anti-Semitism going on. I mean, yes, there is a really radical element that's going on right now in Israel that a lot of people are very upset by, and I'd like to see the majority view of the people of Israel be heard, which is
now he's going to be an expert in geopolitics as well. I wasn't aware of this, but somebody sent this to me. They said, if you Google David Wilcock scam, you find us, lots of us. And yeah, you're right. That's interesting. So many truth seekers previous shows come up. This is from my audio podcast. That's ancient. Pete Peterson and the David Wilcock GoFundMe scam. Pete Peterson and the David Wilcock scam. This is great. And this is from our coverage of Stavati Aerospace. Ponzi scheme, foreclosures, investment scam, creditors suing, huge unpaid bills. David Wilcock, hover cars, lawsuits, unpaid bills, foreclosure, and lies. I wasn't aware that if you Google David Wilcock scam, you find us, but that's probably a good thing. People, if they search that term, should find some truth instead of all of his lies. Now we'll go back to the stream. Again, this is fair use.
Really don't want this to go on anymore. They're doing massive protests. So again, there's different predilections in every.
Yeah,
culture.
He's very disrespectful to all religions and spiritual practices.
That's just totally ridiculous. And you're not even in kindergarten yet if you're a racist. Actually, you haven't even started the most basic education.
You're right.
You need to have to be.
You can't correct him. He's right about everything. He's got a 200 IQ.
Universal love, and you're certainly not going into fourth density enjoying the idea
finger
of
an honest buck.
You have to have a really overwhelming sense.
Look up crackhead and David's face on there. What?
So then, okay. Fourth density, you're very, very.
Yeah, we have Albert Ray. Thanks for recognizing that. Albert Ray says Stephen has been fighting the good fight for a while now.
You still can't make your own body. You still can't make your own spaceship with your mind. That's a fifth density trick. So you have to get another.
You can't make your own spaceship with your mind
to get up to fifth density. And then when you ascend into fifth density, it's only because you learned the principles of honor, duty, honesty, responsibility.
You got to learn all these principles to get the superpowers.
We're going to go into that. Honor, duty, wisdom.
It reminds me of Deepak Chopra. Yeah, I think that guy is not as bad as Wilcock, though. But I could be wrong.
And so a lot of it has to do with how you speak, what words
Greer thinks we have reverse engineered
whether
alien
those
crap.
words have integrity, whether you're being honest with yourself, honest with other people.
Yeah.
And
with
so
500 different face angles.
Codes.
Yes.
This was
you got to have 7 cameras if you're going to stream.
And why I was so happy to have her teaching warrior codes, because this is a very important subject. The law of one says that you need to have warrior codes if you're going to make it into fifth density. So essentially everybody who's made it to fifth density is now a very capable warrior and has integrated these.
Show me one person that made it to fifth density and can display these superpowers he's talking about. He can't.
That you're doing something
because he just makes all this shit up.
But you are honored to do it. So the problem with the fourth density is, and this is where a lot of
he's talking about integrity, right? What a hypocrite!
Is that they want to do things.
You can't make a spaceship with just your mind.
Also
just ask Stavati.
Honor and duty is very tied in with
Good
courage,
point.
Bravery.
If you can make a spaceship with your mind, why doesn't he make a hover car with his mind and prove everybody wrong?
To defend yourself and have boundaries. This all has to do with wisdom. Wisdom is boundaries.
Yeah, it's a no-go. He never produced anything.
Okay, I don't
He's moved on to new scams.
Taken advantage of. It's important that
but he still mentions it once in a while. Like it still might happen.
Therefore, I have to have boundaries.
It's legit science fiction, says Cameron T.
They're going to get sad. They're going to get angry. They're not going to like it. They're going to get pissed off.
Oh, they're going to get sad and angry.
This is what I have to do. I'm sorry, but I have to have these boundaries. This is important to me. That's a fifth density principle. And you communicate your boundaries. So you're communicating with the throat chakra. And you're communicating wisdom. You have the wisdom to see that you have to defend yourself. So the whole communicating wisdom is really a fifth density discussion. And lo and behold, fourth density people are always getting ripped off by the Tuesday, Friday game. People with an open heart. Every new story comes along. The money is coming. It sounds great. Invest your money in this. It's going to be amazing. And then nothing ever happens. Well, thankfully, we really are now working with a variety of credentialed institutional level investment sources. We're not even really dealing with private investors anymore.
Now the big investors.
Now we're just going on to an institutional level, and we're getting a lot more success that way.
Who's dumb enough to invest in a company that's already being sued by a previous investor that called it an investment scam?
Just a lot of really cool stuff happening I can't really talk about, but
Oh, I can't
We
talk
are
about
on
the
the
cool
verge
stuff
of
happening.
success, and
We're on
I
the
do
verge of
intend to
success.
repay all my debts as soon as I get the ability to do so. So that's all going to be coming out. But in the meantime, the Tuesday Friday game is the epitome again of lack of honor, lack of any type of real duty to fulfill. They're just lying to you. There's no honor in lying.
David Wilcock, shut up and show us
Psychopaths
your
are
third grade
pathological liars.
drawings.
And again, non-violent psychopaths are largely overlooked in our society because
Randy
they do a
Kramer,
great job
psionic
of
students,
camouflaging
fully
themselves.
fifth density
You
graders
don't
in
really see
schoolyard.
them for what they are. You don't understand that this person is plotting against you, but yet there's so many cases like, again, the television show Hollywood Con Queen. It's
No, that's a
intentional
real
infliction
strat,
of
I think.
emotional distress. They like that more than making money. It's really about building you up, making you think you're going to get this
Let
money,
me put down
getting you
some
all excited
boundaries.
about it,
David, silly
and
people,
then
stop
shattering
spending
your
money.
dreams and betraying you and making it impossible for you to get the money, which they never had in the first place. So they just want to build you
No,
up,
this is the
tear you
guy who
down,
bought an
get
airplane
you
hangar.
excited, and then ruin your hopes.
Told everybody he's going to build
And
hover
this is what's
cars.
been happening to us from the institutions that we see around us, the media, government sources. It's just one
He didn't even do slides for this,
dishonorable setup and betrayal
right?
after
He's
another.
just going to
Just one
bullshit
lie
off the
after
top
another.
of his
People
head.
are completely sick
But
of
there's
it. They
plenty
don't
of
trust the
bullshit
media
off the top
anymore.
of his head. Look
They're
at
more
it,
apt to
right?
trust somebody like me as an independent because I have, no dog
Lucas
in their hunt.
Bachman with the
I
kind
don't
of generous
need to have
$5
any of
super
this
chat
surveillance
says
stuff
George
going on. I don't need to
McFly
have any
says
of this,
you are
like,
my
people should be ripped off,
my
or people
density.
should be hurt. I don't get off on
Thanks for
people
helping us
suffering.
praise the
I'm
cash,
not
Lucas.
enjoying
Praise the
any of
cash,
it.
praise the cash,
It's been
praise
very
the
hard to
cash.
stay in this battle.
It's been
Knowing
very
that
hard to
people
stay in
want
this
me
battle,
down,
he
they want me
said.
to have no money. They
Yeah.
want me to have terrible weather. There was a big storm of
Oh,
wind coming
yeah.
in.
Everybody
I wasn't
wants
even sure
him
if
to
I was
have
going to be able
terrible
to do
weather.
a show today.
Oh, I couldn't do a
So
show.
I really wanted to drill in on the fifth density teachings and really explain to you that if you don't live by
Legal
honor
Eagle,
and
I'm going to
duty,
get my spiritual advice from an idiot that
responsibility
doesn't
in
know
your
the
own
difference
life,
between a fake
then
aerospace
you're
company
not
and
going to
Magic
be
Beans.
as ready for this ET contact that's coming our way next year. In
Oh,
other
no, more
words,
childhood stuff.
the
You're not going to be
hero's
ready.
journey. The
No,
hero's
again with the
journey is a
hero's
multi-dimensional
journey.
story. It's not just fourth density. The hero isn't just loving. The hero has to become brave and fearless.
Yeah, I can imagine,
as he
Flirt, but
continues
thanks for
his
being a
quest.
member.
So the hero's journey takes you through the whole
Hey,
fifth
Glenn
density
Frith
thing
is
about
here.
honor
Thanks for
and
being a
duty and
member. William
responsibility.
Runner. A lot of money going right
So
there.
the wisdom that is conveyed in
Yep.
fifth density is essentially a wisdom about having boundaries. And the law of one explains that the main protocol to repel negative entities is I love you, fourth density, and I reject the service that you are offering me. That's fifth density wisdom. So the basic way that you have to fend off evil is by integrating fifth density. And if you don't live as a disciplined personality, this is another term the law of one uses over and over again. If you don't have a disciplined personality, if you don't have boundaries, if you don't protect yourself from the people who are trying to hurt you, then you are not living with honor, and you are not living with duty, and you are not living with wisdom, and you are not exercising communication, and you are not being honest.
I love how this guy's talking about people not being honest and people living with honor. Right? It's so hypocritical. Hey, David, what honor is there in selling people fake stories? What honor is there in pretending that you have real government insiders and then we find out that they're frauds and con artists, right? What honor is there in, I don't know, telling people about a secret space program astronaut for years and years and years for money, and then we find out that guy's never been to space? You have no honor. And you have no right to talk about other people not having honor. You've been scamming people for decades with fake new age nonsense. You have no honor. And the fact that he can sit here with a straight face and talk about other people having no honor shows you what kind of person this man is.
Psychopaths will use
Oh,
a
again with
technique
the
called
psychopaths.
NARVO, which is deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. And that means that if you try to question them, if you try to confront them about
Thus
any of
our
the
hero
stuff they're doing
Wilcock
to
goes
hurt you,
forth into the land of
they
coke
change
to
the
snort
subject
the
and
coke
flip it back
dragons.
on you. The reverse victim
Yes.
and offender. You're now the victim. They become the offender. And they make it your fault that you brought this up. So you can't ever really talk to a psychopath about anything that has any meaning for you in terms of that relationship. They're only going to flip it back on you and blame you. And they're just going to keep doing this blame game.
It's
and they
infuriating,
never
and he
accept
probably
any
gets
real
off on it.
responsibility.
Yeah.
So
It's like he is
psychopaths in their
providing
basic
himself
conduct are
self-therapy,
completely
talking
lacking in
about
fifth density. They don't
psychopaths.
have
Yes.
honor. They don't feel
Yeah,
that
I think
honor
so.
to others.
He probably
nature
hasn't
of the
looked
way
in a
their
mirror
brain
lately.
works,
Yeah.
they just have this complete lack of empathy. And it's fascinating to
He's
watch
talking
these
about
serial killers
himself
talk
is
about
why
it
it's
so
easy.
procedurally,
Yeah.
about how they murdered somebody, and they're not even excited, and they're not
This
even
dude
sad.
is
and
lost,
they just
says
talk
High-Speed
about it
Chase.
just like
I
anything
agree.
else. You know?
What
So
about
that's not
Okinawan
normal.
folk
And
dances?
that's
What the hell does
because,
that have to
again,
do with
the
anything?
17 parts
Guys
of
and
the brain
nuts,
that are
says
not
Richard
functioning
Warner.
properly, most of which are shut down. They have less gray matter
Absolutely
by up to
hypocritical.
20% or more.
Taco
Whole
Tuesday.
entire parts
Ooh, I
of
missed
the
Taco
brain that are just
Tuesday.
not electrically firing.
We had roast pork today.
And
It was
there's a very
delicious.
interesting fingerprint. There's a persona that is
Taco
encapsulated
time,
in the
plant-based.
mainstream psychology's test for a psychopath, which is called the PCLR. And that's the revised version of the original.
I think he ought to
study
take
that
the
was made. It's 20
psychopath and
questions,
sociopath
and
test.
you either get a 0, a 1, or a 2. So the highest score anybody could possibly get is a 40. That would be the most psychopathic person, the highest on the spectrum.
I think he'd get a 40.
And so in Great Britain, they were
Him and
diagnosed
Corey
as a
good.
psychopath for, I think, a 28. Whereas in America, I think you have to get over 30, like even maybe up to 34, to be a clinical psychopath. So that was a funny thing I point out. In the
Taco
book,
time.
that British have less tolerance than Americans.
David Wilcock
for
worked at a
psychopathy,
mental
these
institution,
types
says
of
Legal
behaviors.
Eagle. At least that's
So
what
again,
they
it's
told
very
him.
interesting because they're
Thanks for
chameleons.
being a
They
member.
don't reveal who they
Legal
are.
Eagle, and a great
They're
comment.
always going to mimic
can't
emotions, but they don't
Past
really
his
feel the same
rock
emotions.
smile that he paid
They try to
somebody
learn
for.
how to
Yeah.
act like
He'd be a
certain emotions, but they're
41,
not really
says
going to
Pete
feel
Berry.
those emotions.
He'd break the
And so
goddamn
they will pretend that
psychopath
they are
scale,
in love. They
Pete
will
Berry.
pretend that they are luring
Absolutely.
you in on positive premises, but it's all a lie. And like with the Tuesday, Friday game, I mean, you know, you have dinner with these guys. They tell you that you're going to make all this money. They get you to invest, which is usually what it's about, you know, and then the money is coming and it's always Tuesday or Friday. It just goes on ad infinitum. And, you know, if you ever try to question them, they get mad. So they do the Darvo,
Council
all that kind of stuff.
9. Wow.
So this is something that we have way too much of. And again, if you only are loving and that's your main focus, but you're not learning about wisdom and honor and duty and
Oh, you got
responsibility,
to,
then you
yeah.
kind of
Wisdom,
miss the point
honor, duty, and
on
responsibility.
the levels of spirituality that you can get to.
To talk
So I
about a
decided
lack
as a
of
public-
responsibility, he takes no responsibility for all the people that he scammed out of money for all of his fake nonsense of the past. He just makes up new fake nonsense and keeps on scamming people.
Service that what I'm going to do is read the most of the Law of One quotes. I only left out a few that I don't think were really needed, but we're going to go through almost
Yes.
all. of the
Yoda
Law
was
of One
900
quotes
years
that
old.
talk
Maybe
about
Wilcock
honor
was
and
thinking
duty.
about Star Wars.
Because I think it's very essential.
could
that
be.
You, as the viewer of today, I'm talking to you. The intelligent universe, the infinity of the universe is inside you. That's the only way I can reach it. I can only reach it through the reflection of what the Creator wants you to know, which is what the Law of One says. You have to reflect the will of the Creator back into the creation. So I'm going to actually not even work out of my own Michael books. I'm going to go right back to the main source, the Law of One, because a lot of people are comfortable and familiar with that material. And I'm going to talk to you specifically about fifth density and where they use these words, honor and duty, because we're going to gain a much greater understanding from this. Now, before I read these quotes, I also want to discuss the fact that I have felt a strong sense of honor, duty, and responsibility to communicate the messages on X/Twitter from the Alliance.
Yes, this is his honor. He has to, it's his honor and duty to share Q-Tard posts from a guy who doesn't even know who he is or why he keeps making all these false claims about the poster, the Q-Tard Telegram and Twitter poster, Shadows of Ezra.
And as I've said before,
he's honor bound to share those posts with his viewers, the Q-Tard posts. That's what honor dictates. I have to share these Q-Tard posts.
In 2017, the posts appeared that had to do with a particular
The Q-Tard posts.
letter.
Yeah, Q-Tard posts.
And you know what I'm talking about. And so that
Q-Tard
came
posts,
and went,
yes.
And it's about 5,000 of them, almost 5,000. And during the time they were coming out, it was very amazing. They were constantly.
I think you're
commenting on
right,
current
Chris
events. They
Johansson.
kept exposing these very dark elements in
Densities
our society
were
that
so
nobody really wants to
2012,
look at.
David. Yeah, I agree, Archaic
They kind
Revival.
of went into remission for a while, but now it is absolutely returned in the form of the Shadow of Ezra posts. And if you go to Twitter, you're pretty much going to see all of them. So just to give you a taste of what they're putting out there. Again, this is part of what I feel is my honor and duty.
It's his honor and
As
duty to share
somebody who wants
Q-Tard
to see
Twitter
this
posts.
planet be freed.
Yes.
It, I mean, at first when I got into doing this,
You can't even write a resignation letter, right?
I was thinking that it could all lead to some type of very imminent blackout. We just got a donation, Cameron.
Oh,
Thank
3
you very
days of
much.
darkness again. The
I thought there was
blackout.
going to be a blackout.
The internet
There still might
outage.
be. I mean, it's a very tense time.
No, you said it was going to
I spent the
happen
whole week
within
on the
30
edge of my
days.
seat,
It never
not
happened.
having enough money and waiting for money that never arrived. Finally, it did. At least the one check did. But the other money is still bottlenecked up, and I'm probably going to get it on Monday. So when I pay my bills, how I pay my bills, all that is.
Oh, he
affected
did the
by
stream on
these
Saturday, I
problems.
think, or Sunday. So we had to wait a whole
I
one day to
felt
get
a
his
very
free money.
strong sense of honor and duty to
Fifth
get this
density.
material out.
It's
because
a
clearly
strong
the
sense of
Alliance
honor and
decided
duty
that
to
we
share
need to have
Q-Tard
a
posts.
mainstream conversation
Nonsense Q-Tard
about
posts.
elite evil.
What a
And
dumbass
what we
this
would-
guy
the
is.
so-called elite. People don't want to call them elite. Okay, well, they've done that though. They've reached that level where they have massive wealth, massive influence, they have control over society.
James Pepper
and some of
is spitting some biblical knowledge at David Wilcock. James Pepper, thanks for being a member, says Revelation 20:10, and the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet have been thrown. They will be tormented day and night forever. Well, that Bible verse may have some clue to your future, David Wilcock. Now, not that I wish that on David Wilcock. I wish a road to redemption and repentance to all men, but he would have to apologize to all the people he stole money from, in my opinion, allegedly stole money from, and he would have to repent, and he would have to be truly sorry in order to save himself from the hellish afterlife that he may be receiving for lying to people for decades. We're all given one life. Could you imagine saying, well, we're given this life, and if we're lucky, maybe we'll live to be 70 years old. David Wilcock has decided that he's just going to spend so far 30 years of his life lying to people. There has to be a karmic debt to be paid for that. You can't get away with just lying and scamming people for 30 years. There has to be karma. But we may be seeing some signs of karma in that David Wilcock is broke. He gave tons of money of the money that he got from his New Age idiot followers to this scammy aerospace company. And I doubt he'll ever see a dime of that money back.
Some of them want to be adored and become public figures. Others like to hide. It depends on each person, seems to be different.
He really needs to stop saying
now
honor
we're
and
at
duty.
this point in society where the Alliance wants us to.
Yeah, I think a lot of these grifters
responsibility,
actually believe
spreading
working an
misinformation
honest job is
fearlessly.
degrading.
Because if enough people don't have this information, the plan is not going to work.
Well, why does he have
So
to share
there's gonna
these
be stuff
posts,
that gets
though?
laid
Why
on-
can't people just go to Twitter and see it? He's got to make money off somebody else posting Q-Tard nonsense on Twitter?
On us, I think that's coming. There's going to be some type of moment of truth where it's like, whoa, I never realized what the military
God hates
was up
false
to, but now
prophet.
that I've figured out that this is
Prophet,
what's
says
going on,
Richard
this
Warner.
is very,
Can't say I
very
disagree.
freaking serious. And it is so much like the song Santa Claus is Coming to Town. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's going to find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping.
Wilcock would reach more
knows
followers
when
if he
you're
had the
awake.
Merv
He
Griffin
knows
set
if
like
you've been
Kramer on
bad or good.
Seinfeld. Yeah.
So be good for goodness sake. I mean, it sounds hilarious, right? And I
Wilcock
mean,
is putting me to
at the
sleep.
same
Good
time,
night,
here
all.
I am
Thanks,
wearing
Michael
my
Padilla.
sizzle shoes because I wanted to honor you with the sizzle of the
He
sequins
believes
on my
he's a
shoes.
saint.
And that's what Santa Claus does when he comes to town. He's
Problem
gonna give
is,
you really sizzly,
With
amazing
Wilcock,
stuff.
he never grew up. Yeah, I agree.
Anyway,
Wilcock is giving me a
I gotta
headache,
keep it
says
fun. I
Admiral
gotta do something
Rascals.
to make myself laugh. The point is that Santa Claus is coming to town.
He's
It's
just
kind of a
watching
song about
prepper
God.
shows and
It's kind of
biblical
a song about
prophecy and
God.
Galactic
It's kind of a
Federation
song about
channels.
the fact
Yes.
that there are these angelic beings out there, symbolized by Saint Nicholas in this
An
case.
IRS
But
investigation
that's
would be
real.
fitting.
And there is an
Yeah.
absolute morality
Absolutely.
in the universe. The law of one talks about this. The first distortion of the law of one is free
Yeah.
will.
Oh, 3 days of
Mess with free
darkness.
will,
Oh, internet
mysterious
outages.
things will happen
Oh,
to you that
Wilcock
balance out
Cannon.
the hurt that you do to
He's
others,
been
but it
promising
becomes in
that
different
shit for a
forms, like you
decade.
cut
It's
yourself,
never
you
gonna
crash your
happen.
car. or you have trouble going
David
to
clearly
sleep, or whatever the
missed
heck
his
it is.
recommended
Karma can come in a
colonoscopy.
variety
He's
of
so
different
full of
forms.
shit.
The people that run
I
Tuesday, Friday
agree.
games,
Foxy's
they're always
friends.
getting hit with karma. They're always having bad things happen to them. They don't understand why it is. If you're on the negative path, the universe is aligned against you. You can make it up to fifth density, like Lucifer. You know, it projects into a human body down in there in Antarctica. But after that, you're done. If you want to get into sixth density, you got to go positive. If you want to be in seventh density, you got to be positive. So you can't have a negative, blood drinking, service to self, evil philosophy continue. I'm getting lots of donations now. Thank you, guys. You can't have this type of philosophy continue in the midst of, you know, a universe that is conspiring to make you more loving.
Oh my
So in
God.
fourth density positive, you learn to be loving to yourself. And
I love how
negative,
he's telling
I'm
everybody
sorry,
else
fourth
how to
density
be
negative is
more.
the love of self. With
I love how he's telling everybody else how to be more of a good person as he's scamming people. Like, this is how you become a good person and get those fifth density superpowers. As he's scamming people and selling them a book full of fake angel prophecies, right? It's amazing.
without loving others. Fourth density positive is the love of everyone. So you are learning love in fourth density negative, but it's extreme love of self. Fifth density negative,
Extreme love
you
of
have
self.
the wisdom to serve
Does
yourself.
that sound familiar?
And in fifth density positive,
Extreme
you have wisdom
love
to
of
serve
self.
others. And sixth density is the unification of
He
light
probably
and wisdom.
jerks off to pictures of himself.
The unification of love and wisdom, rather.
He's such an
Wisdom is also
egomaniac. I
called
bet
light
he
in law
does.
one. This is a very
He
confusing
cranks
thing.
it out to
There's
pictures
a
of
positive
himself.
aspect to light in the universe.
There's a
Of course,
term
it's
for
not all
that.
evil.
I think one of the
There's
Kardashians just said
Lucifer
she's
and,
like
you know,
that.
dark light. But I mean, there's a positive light to the universe, the light of the one infinite creator. They talk about
He's
that
still
a lot.
watching Land of the Lost. I love that
love and
show
light
growing up.
Our
It
love
was
and
on
wisdom.
reruns
And
after
actually,
school.
it's the two different ways in which energy travels. The
How is he using a
let's make
Santa
sure I got this right.
analogy?
The light or the wisdom is the
Yes.
photon, and the love is the tunnel that the
David is on
photon
grift
is
mode
traveling.
24/7.
If you actually get into the physics of how the universe is built,
It's
from love and light.
amazing. It is
I'm not going to
amazing.
do that now.
Betty's wearing
Anyway,
Elizabeth's old
The
panties.
Shadow of Ezra posts have really changed my life because, as I said, back in February, I mean, it's been going on for a long time, but especially in February, it became clear that they were messaging
Santa
me
Claus. What the fuck
as
is
I
this
was
guy
having
on?
dreams that were talking about.
I don't know.
wisdom.
People are saying he's huffing paint.
And
I
there's
don't
been a
know.
number
Paint
of very
thinner?
phenomenal
Maybe he's on bath salts?
confirmations that they've
Cocaine
given
is a
me
very powerful
that
drug.
they are listening to what I have to say,
Bath salts?
and that they
Are
are
you snorting bath
supporting what
salts?
I'm doing, that they honor me and they respect me. And therefore, I feel that I have a duty. This is the honor and duty thing again.
Yeah.
Because
The guy, he's saying that Shadows of Ezra honors and respects him. We just showed you the post from earlier, showed you that nobody even knows. The Shadows of Ezra guy doesn't even know who he is, right? Here we go. Once again, David Wilcock just said that guy's honoring him and respecting him. Once again, I have nothing to do with David Wilcock. I don't even know who he is, to be honest. He sounds insane. He sounds insane. I just post my opinions about things. So that's pretty funny. David Wilcock is saying that Shadows of Ezra is the head of Alliance Communications and honors and respects him. So he has to honor and respect him back by sharing his posts. And we just showed you that the person he's talking about, number one, doesn't know who he is, and number two, thinks he sounds insane. Great, David Wilcock.
Being honored by them, I feel a duty to continue to do this, to continue to represent what they have to say. So this particular show, I'm just kind of burned out on exposing evil. I've been doing it week after week here.
Exposing evil? He's exposing evil by scamming people for fake angel prophecies for $333? That's exposing evil? No, we expose evil here, David Wilcock. You, sir, are evil. Scamming all those old lady out of all their money, telling everybody they're going to get superpowers, telling people you have real government insiders. This guy's something else, man.
So I wanted to kind of keep that light. There's a lot of stuff they've exposed in the past week. In fact, I highly recommend, again, you go to their channel on Twitter and look up the stuff, for example, on George Floyd. They just did a whole big sequence on that. I'm not going to go through that today. I just wanted to focus a little bit on their stuff and encourage you to pick up where I leave off, because they're getting like 1 million views on a lot of stuff they're doing. So it's really getting out there, and I'm very encouraged by that. And so please, if you're going to use their material, give them credit too. Give people a link back to the source. Don't just act like you found this on your own. That's another principle of honor. If you're pilfering other people's creative, if you're borrowing ideas and you're not giving credit to the source, that is dishonorable.
It's dishonorable. He doesn't know who you are, and you're making money sharing his material and talking about it. He doesn't even know who you are, David, and he thinks that you're insane.
You need to honor the source. Well, you don't need to, because the law of one says you don't need to do anything, right? But the optimal path is to honor the source of whatever it is that you're quoting from.
David goes fountain mood when he's thirsty.
So honor is about
yes.
respect and
it's worth the money to learn how to ascend.
Kindness and compassion.
Come on, farmer. I hope you're being
and
sarcastic.
We're not doing that.
Nobody has ascended. He's taught 3 ascension courses
now. What made me want to do this whole talk, to be honest with you, is I talked to my snowplow guy. And my snowplow guy has said he's never had so many customers defaulting and not paying their bills. And I said, well, in certain cases, even if it's only like less than $100.
A Q guy who says Wilcock is insane. That is funny.
Take him to small claims court.
It is funny, yeah.
And so we had a whole conversation about this. I said, he has over $2,000 in unpaid collections.
Laid in the tub for a week making pee fountains while waiting for a check.
And they're all
Richard Warner.
Being dishonorable. They're avoiding talking to him on the phone. They won't pick up
Paint
the phone.
Thinners by Lazar's Paint
said,
Supplies.
At this point, the only remedy that you really have is you can either just let people screw you, or you get a lawyer, and you have to.
Sounds like the bridge in Scientology. I agree. KM400S. Thanks for being here.
Do not result in going to court.
And thanks for being a member.
So you give somebody that letter, they get scared, they tell you,
yeah, that's his new source.
Okay, well, pay us $20.
His new insider source is a snowplow guy.
End up doing. So if you're going to spend more than that on your attorney for 1 hour,
his wallet has less density.
Then you're going to get in this collection. We had a donation here.
David never had an original thought.
I'll read this one. What the hell? She donated $20. Hey, Dave, 2 friends, Jill and Pam, simple universal principles here. Old souls develop, acknowledge the wisdom, and will act accordingly.
He's exposing
when it comes to honor
shit.
And duty. Whereas
he's exposing evil.
Psychos. Think of B.S. Skinner too.
As he's
Thank you, Jill.
Scamming old ladies out of their Social Security checks.
We are definitely in a situation where we are looking at psychopaths and we're saying, you know what?
David Wilcock talking to the snowplow guy about people defaulting on their debts.
And E.T.
Souls. He's talking to the snowplow guy. Oh wow, a lot of people aren't paying you. How much money does Stevati Aerospace owe to the people that they ripped off, David Wilcock? How much did you at Stevati Aerospace default on your creditors? What was it? We had the court documents. We shared them here. 100,000, 200,000, right? And what about the investor that felt ripped off to the tune of $1 million? And you're talking about people not paying their debts? You gotta love it.
We'll tend to have this, but some of them don't. Some of them don't. There's a lot of people who should know better, who still don't have
$333 worth of monopoly money.
Unfortunately,
snowplow guy equals coke detector.
So
space
it's actually far more
coke
common
dealer
than people realize. Because, for example,
I don't know.
Again, let's go back to the snowplow guy. And
the snowplow guy is the coke guy.
He's the guy that did the Super Size Me movie. And I read that he died in disgrace. He just died, unfortunately, but he was a disgraced man. He admitted that he had cheated on every single person that he was ever with, wife or girlfriend.
Oh my God, the guy died.
He was sexually objectifying one of his workers and called her sex pants or something like that. And so, it's a very, very common thing. The horny guru,
Morgan Spurlock just died. Why do you got to kick the guy while he's dead?
Because they were going to write a song called Maharishi. And it was actually, they had to change it to Sexy Sadie. John Lennon got a legal notice. You can't call this song Maharishi. You better call it Sexy Sadie instead. Sexy Sadie, what have you done?
Now he's going to sing for us.
You played a fool of everyone.
Definitely looks like he's been on a drug binge.
Oh, man, that's a loss.
Jason Parker.
Can't do that at all.
Right? Yeah.
So, but that's, if you read Many Years From Now, which is Paul McCartney's biography, he talks about the fact that was the original name of the song. So, in the book, Paul explains that they went out there to the temple in India with Maharishi, and that he was the horny guru, and he tried to pick up their girlfriends, and he was, handsy, and they got really, really mad, and that's where the White Album comes from. A lot of the songs on the White Album
Now he's an
Well,
expert
they
on
were over
Beatles
there,
history too.
and then they
You ever
thought
notice
that they
he's
were gonna
literally
find
an expert
somebody
on
who was,
everything?
more spiritual
Everything.
than they were, more enlightened than they
Sure
were.
sign of a
they're out there
bullshitter.
saying all you need is love. That's great, but we want a real guru,
Shows
man. We're the
David's
Beatles. We want to
true
find a spiritual
character,
root
says
here.
Patty.
So
Yeah.
they go out there and they think it's going to be this guy. And then, it's not to say that his teachings aren't of value. I think transcendental meditation is wonderful. There's a lot of really great stuff that's
Yes,
come
talk
out of
about
this.
hypocrisy.
Publicity definitely helped. So I have full respect for
Legal
TM.
Eagle calls his
But
gay lover the plow
every
guy.
leader is
Could
subject
be.
and
I don't
fallible
know.
to his own ego and his own limitations. And this includes
Now the Beatles. Yes.
Maharishi. So they talk about this in the Beatles biographies. That he
Paint thinner Coke
made
and
them
bath salts are a
miserable,
heck of
and
a
they all left
combination.
kind of in
Says
fun.
Admiral
I
Rascals.
forget who stayed the longest or who left first. I think
He's
it
a
might have been
rocket
Ringo
man.
Who left first.
Yes.
I can't even remember all those.
He's
details,
jealous of
but,
the
like,
gurus
there's
that
a
are
lot
getting
of,
laid.
Most of the songs
Yeah.
on the White Album.
Who's he going to bang?
were
The
either
old
written
ladies
when they
in
were
his
still in the
stupid
high phase of it,
conferences?
or when they got out of
Like
it.
John
So,
Denver just reincarnated
there's
inside
actually a
David's
song on the White Album
forehead.
that's very crude called "Why Don't
Memory
We Do It in the
savant.
Road?" Why don't we do it in the road?
I guess we're done with Santa
And
Claus.
Paul McCartney explained.
Yeah,
that
we're
he
on to the
saw
Beatles.
monkeys
Yeah.
having sex in the middle of the road when he was there in India.
Please,
and that's
Wilcock,
where
don't
that
take
song
up
came
singing.
from. So it's a fascinating piece of spiritual history that they became disillusioned. They all left.
Oh, they all
They
left.
all realized, like,
Good
maybe
man.
Dumbo's feather was in my hand the whole time, but I didn't really need it. We created
Oliver
our
Lane
own
says,
thing.
I have a feeling
And
that is
we're
next.
not perfect, but we're doing the best
How
we
many
can.
monkeys? Well, it takes two to
So
tango,
another
so at
example,
least
I
two.
said, my plow guy is not able to collect, and people aren't.
Yeah,
paying
and your vendors for Stavati aren't
He's got
able
all
to
these
collect
defaults
either.
going on, and so this is something where
Did he say before
having
that
the
he met the Blue
responsibility to
Avians
live
in
your
person?
life
No, that would be Corey
with,
Good, Lee Murray.
honor to the people who you owe money to is very important, and it's been terribly frustrating.
Gary Busey's
'cause
asking
I've had
for his
debts that I
teeth
can't
back.
honor, debts
Oh,
to the
no.
government, debts to my company, debts to individuals. It's just crazy that I've.
Well, at
been
least
through
he
this much poverty,
acknowledges he
because
owes
honor is
people all
very
this
important
money.
to me. So again,
Yeah, and I
Death
love
of
how he
Ezra,
cries.
to me, has become.
He cries about all the money that he owes the IRS. Well, you spent that money. You should have set aside the money that you owed for income taxes. You spent the money, David Wilcock. And yes, your company owes hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have unpaid debts to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you're going to sit here and talk about honor?
The new voice.
Oh, I screwed all these vendors out of hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of services that we took and never paid for. But I'm going to talk to you about honor, right? While I'm screwing all hundreds of people out of tens of thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars, while Stavati Aerospace is screwing an investor out of $1 million, he can't even get his $1 million back. They promised him, what was it, $4 or $5 million back in a 4-year period. He didn't get a dime of his money, David. And you're going to sit here and talk about unpaid debts and honor. But don't worry, he's still an honorable person while he's fucking all of those people out of all that money he owes them, while he's screwing the IRS out of all years, I guess, of unpaid income taxes. He's still an honorable person. Why? Because he's going to share Q-tard posts on his stream.
Voice of the Alliance, and I feel a debt and an obligation to continue to let you know what's going on, because once they do what they're going to do,
come
the whole
together
world
right
will
now
change.
over
It's gonna
me.
be like Santa Claus is coming
Funny
to
Moody
town.
Mongol.
You realize they saw you while you were sleeping, they saw you while you were awake, and they know what you've been doing.
Oh, we're back to Santa
Nobody
Claus.
can hide anything. This
We're
is
back
one
to
of the
Santa
good
Claus.
things. So I do look at them in some ways as like a moral
There's some
arbiter.
Led Zeppelin takes coming
They're
up
going
here
to watch
too.
everything that I'm
Plant
doing.
vocals
And
especially.
if I were to start really screwing up and becoming somebody that they wouldn't want me to be, they would cut me off.
He's a
And I would
polymath.
be,
Stephen, come
exercised
on.
from the plan. So I take this stuff very seriously. I don't want to get kicked out. I don't want to.
Oh,
have
he wants
anything
to
like that
trust the
happen to me,
plan.
but it could. And so that's another big interesting thing in the Law of One is they say there is no absolute marriage bond in the Law of One. They say a marriage is based upon
I just kind of
both parties
just
being
naturally
able to
figured
continue
Wilcock's
to
favorite
honor
Beatles
and
song.
respect
Come
each
together
other.
right now. Yes.
And that if a party
I
falls
guess he had to
off,
blow
which
the
is
snowplow
unpredictable,
guy
there's
for
no way to
clearing
absolutely
Stavati's
know if
parking
somebody's gonna
lot.
have
Oh my God!
off.
David Wilcock
That
might
it
have had
may
to blow a
become
guy to get a
appropriate to
free
end that
plow
relationship.
service.
So the Law of One is very
Allegedly.
fascinating because that's not usually what we would think. The typical
Are we going to
fourth
get a
density
Trump
understanding would
slippers
be
plug
love
in
is
this
going to
video?
conquer
I don't know.
all,
I
it's
haven't
always gonna
watched
be
this
there, we're
until
married
now.
for life. No, actually, when you get into
Can
fifth
you imagine
density,
what John
if
Lennon
you
would say to this
dishonor your
guy?
partner enough, then there may be a need for that. And the law of one goes into the whole thing on
The
it.
song remains the same.
So that was that they even call it legal contract.
He's writing
marriage. They
letters
don't
to
have
Santa for
a
money
very
now.
positive view of it. So
Whoa,
you know,
he's
I believe
broke
in
as
marriage,
shit,
and I
right?
certainly intend to be married again in the future.
Stavati couldn't design
but
a hot
right
air
for
balloon
now,
that could fly, let
you
alone
know,
his
we're talking
laughable
about how
aircraft
this
designs.
applies
I agree,
to
legal.
the basic fifth density
David said he wants to be
understandings
married again.
and why I keep
To a
mentioning
man?
the Ezra posts, because to me,
I don't think he wants to be married to a
I
woman
am
again.
a warrior already.
That
I'm
didn't
a
work
warrior
out.
of the light, and I want this to work.
He's
and
a
they
warrior.
clearly need more people to be aware of these things and spread this information on a larger and larger level. So with that in mind, now we're finally going to do our first slide. How far in are we? We're already at 1 hour and 22 minutes. Well, the slides aren't going to take very long. So, but we're 1 hour and 22 minutes in. So
Hour
let's hit our
23
first slide
minutes.
here.
Oh no.
This is what they just posted today.
Now we're getting to the Shadows of Ezra
In a
crap.
2010 South Park episode entitled Blank Healing, Obama blames aliens for Bill Clinton's blank addiction. That's very interesting. Jacob Allman, 1111, thank you. Curious to get your take on what Terrence Howard shared on Joe Rogan recently. Well, I guess you weren't here for last week. I did say my producer at one point was flying on a Virgin Atlantic flight, and he was in first class, and he sat next to Terrence Howard, and they got talking, and it turns out that Terrence Howard was very aware of my work already and was really excited to do something with me. So we were trying to get the funding lined up for that. At the time, it didn't work.
Yeah, leave it to David Wilcock to glob onto anything that everybody's talking about. By the way, people have asked me about Terrence Howard's appearance on Joe Rogan. The quick version is that I think he's talking a lot of word salad nonsense, and that's not science. But maybe we'll do a more full and thorough and complete breakdown. I think that he's talking pseudoscience garbage, but David Wilcock loves pseudoscience fake garbage. So, of course, Wilcock wants to glob onto that.
I don't have Terrence's accurate number anymore. He changed his phone number. So I kind of lost contact with him. But for a period of time, we were in contact. We hung out in person. We hung out on the phone. We got along very, very well. He's a really, really intelligent guy. And he has delivered something on Joe Rogan that's almost as big or as big as Dr. Robert Malone's breakthrough appearance that really kind of created awareness in the public about COVID. So now Terrence has done something that's on that kind of level of like just groundbreaking influencer. And so, yes, I know he was talking about, I've heard some things about the geometry, that he's got his own patents based on Walter Russell's designs. And I encourage that. You know, we actually talked about sacred geometry back in the day. We had a very interesting conversation, and I'm still open to doing some type of show, some type of appearance with Terrence where we could geek out, because getting the two of us talking philosophy is a very, very interesting thing. So again, this was the slide that they just came out with very recently. Oh, here's another one I should read. Caribbean Jack says, David, my guardian angel visited me a few years back. She was in human form as an Airbnb guest. She said she was an angel, and we spoke in telepathy. Is this something that can happen? Sure.
Let's listen to Wilcock's whack job.
And I
wackadoos.
can't vouch for whether somebody, I would be very skeptical. I mean, I'm extremely cynical because everybody comes up to me in line and they say that they're my wife or girlfriend from another lifetime. And they have that sexual proposal already laid out. And it's like, you know, I hear it so many times. It's like, okay, well, they can't all be right, you know? So I'm very wary of people trying to lay some heavy spiritual story on me. If you do that, it's probably not going to have the intended result, because everybody tries that. And I just hear it so much that it's like, yeah, all right, sorry. Anyway, he's getting back to this funny slide. He's once again, they brought in the extraterrestrial component.
Oh God!
And you know, this just came up. So the views are very low,
nonsense.
just arriving there. But again, there's so much overlap between what.
Oh, I owe hundreds of thousands of dollars. My company owes hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid bills. But don't worry, I'm honorable because I'm sharing this Q-tard posts on my stream.
They're saying and what I'm saying, and I think that this was partially intended to again refer back to the stuff that I've been telling you, which is
again, here he is claiming that the Shadows of Ezra Q-tard is posting stuff just because he wants to refer back to David Wilcock. But we've shown you multiple times now that Shadows of Ezra doesn't even know who he is and thinks he's insane. Awesome. Yo, how crazy do you have to be for a Q-tard to accuse you of being crazy, right? A Q-tard accused David Wilcock of being crazy. Oh, you gotta love
It's a
it.
very strange idea. Archangel Michael, I reached telepathic contact with this being in 1996. The first main year was 97.
Oh,
And
God.
it tells me that I had been murdered in this parallel lifetime where you get abducted by UFOs and grays. You get taken somewhere else, then regular humans from here can interact with you in that timeline, and then you get brought back to the moment you left. And you don't really remember anything except that you're having this massive dream
About
that
getting
shows
butt
you, like,
banged.
the whole entirety of what you just went through, but you can only grab little bits and pieces of it as you're waking up. And for me, I would wake up in a fever. I would have geometric hallucinations. I would be screaming. I'd be sweating. My mother would come in and calm me down, put a washcloth on my forehead. This is why I always helped people throwing up in college. Because men usually weren't throwing up, but women, several different times.
In the last stream, he talked about how he helped all the girls in college that were puking. He would help them. He would hold their hair, right? That makes him some kind of hero. Oh, it's not really men puking. It was the women.
Sometimes there were women who were puking, and I actually non-sexually helped them through it. And they were very, very grateful.
Non-sexually.
I looked at myself as an angel in that situation because nobody else wanted to help anybody. They were too busy being drunk and high. The last thing they want to do is be in a bad trip and help somebody puke.
He's an angel for helping people puking.
So that just is a statement to my character. But I apparently had this parallel life.
Like that makes up for scamming for 30 years. Well, I once helped some drunk bitches. I was helping drunk bitches that listen. Just because I've been scamming people for 30 years with my fake New Age nonsense and my fake government insiders and my fake secret space program insiders and my fake Q-tard nonsense and my fake, mass arrest claims and my fake prophecies. And the fake scams that I helped people run, including the GoFundMe scam for Pete Peterson that stole $60,000 from the public based on complete and total lies, and the fake Emery Smith PayPal donation scam that stole $50,000 from people. But I'm a good person because, when I was in college, I helped drunk bitches. I was helping drunk bitches that were puking. Therefore, I'm a good person because I helped some drunk bitches once. Come on, David Wilcock. This is ridiculous.
The end of that short story helping some drunk bitches kind of stuff I was doing to get out. It might not be literally true, but it was in the vein of what I was doing to escape. Get me the hell out of here.
Stacey, who is this creep in the girls' bathroom holding your hair while you puke?
Maybe that happened. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a violent person now, but if I was trapped for 10 or 20 years in some dismal existence, I might eventually try to get out. So normally you would never remember any of this stuff. If a UFO comes and grabs you, it could either be positive or negative.
No, he said he helped them in a non-sexual
only thing sexual manner. Come back is
Nemesis Bex is here, says it all makes sense now. Thank you.
But you would never ever imagine that was real, except as we said that you have the Tesla turbine technology that was used by Ralph Ring and Otis Carr. And Otis Carr told everybody, put dirt in your pockets, put grass in your pockets, because when you come back, you're not going to
Otis Carr was a con artist.
And sure enough, they came back.
Citing a con artist.
Look in your pockets, dude.
Con artist, liar, scammer.
Bam, there they are. And they got
Wilcock loved con artists, liars, scammers.
Like, wait a minute, how did this happen?
Oh, yeah, he was helping.
These are very, very fascinating ideas. And again,
can everybody not accuse him of SA in the live chat? That's probably against terms of service, please. Thank you.
And covert black programs where they are dealing with evil beings in person. They're dealing with reptilians, insectoids, and grays, among other species that are
saved
evil.
by a crackhead.
And there's also angelic humans. So remember, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
There's definitely angelic humans.
Some of those are also working with the military-industrial complex.
Oh, the good ETs are working with the military-industrial complex. Yes.
Who made treaties with the bad guys.
Now he's quoting the Eisenhower Treaty, which is a complete and total fake story pushed by Bill Cooper and Laura Eisenhower. There's no evidence whatsoever that any government person entered into a treaty or agreement with aliens. There's zero evidence of that. It's just a story. But here, David Wilcock is just repeating as if it's 100% fact.
And they participate in this type of stuff, which apparently is going to include a very common amount of ritual magic. And these rituals, as I've showed you, are very dark. So apparently something happened to me where I got taken into a parallel reality, and I had to see these very evil people doing very evil things. And then the only thing I have is these drawings and these short stories and these memories. And so I know it was disturbing. I'm sorry you guys had to go through this with me.
Yeah, next he's going to show us his third grade report cards because those were disturbing too, right? Did you imagine the notes on them? David never shuts the fuck up in class. We're going to muzzle him if he doesn't shut the fuck up, right?
The good news is I've gotten through almost all of that material.
Oh,
I
almost
did feel
all
an
of it.
honor/duty or an obligation to release this. So
This
that you
is the kind
understand
and generous
that, you know,
99-cent super sticker. Thank
if
you
I
for
have
helping
some deep
us
spiritual
to
memory of
praise
having
the
to go through this,
cash.
that might explain why
Cash,
I've been such a
raise the
Boy
cash.
Scout goody two-shoes in my waking life. I've never done anything remotely negative.
He's never
to
done
any real
anything
degree.
negative.
Nobody has ever been able to catch me on anything. I've had the deep state trying to catch me for so
Nobody's
long.
been able to catch you.
Oh,
We
David
caught you
stole
in
Pete
multiple
Peterson's money. Yeah, we
scams.
got 5 people in the board of directors that show that he didn't, and we also have him on tape laughing when I asked.
What board of directors? What board of directors? Nobody ever. He always twists things around. And here's where it gets interesting. For those unaware, and you can find it on our channel, just search for Pete Peterson. Hit the little magnifying glass, search for Pete Peterson. I destroy the entire Pete Peterson GoFundMe scam. And David Wilcock has brought this up 10 times. He always says, oh, people accused me of stealing Pete Peterson's money. That wasn't the issue. You were accused of helping a con artist scam people. Every word, every line in the GoFundMe text body was fraudulent. And you collected with your scammy friend Pete Peterson, the fake government insider, $60,000 from the public, mostly from the UFO community, claiming he was under deep state attack and police had entered his home. His house got foreclosed on because they didn't pay the mortgage for, what was it, like a year? I'm going from memory now. What you and Pete Peterson did was scam the public out of $60,000. And yes, some people wanted to know, do we even know that Pete Peterson got the money? So yes, he proved Pete Peterson got the money. But what he's never proven is all the fraudulent things that whole GoFundMe scam was based off of. It was all complete and total lies in the text body of the GoFundMe. That means it was a scam, David. You helped a scammer scam the UFO community out of $60,000. And you know how I know that we are accurate and correct and true in our coverage of the Pete Peterson GoFundMe scam? Don't you think if I had falsely accused David Wilcock of participating in a $60,000 GoFundMe scam that I would have faced some kind of legal consequences for saying that? I've been saying it for years. Pete Peterson and David Wilcock scammed the UFO community out of $60,000 based on complete and total lies and fabrications. David Wilcock went on Jimmy Church's radio show and claimed that Pete Peterson was under attack and they were stealing his house and they were throwing all of his possessions in a dumpster. And it turned out, and by the way, we spoke to somebody who spoke to the people that were cleaning the house out for the bank. The house was a complete and total wreck. It looked like an episode of Hoarders. The house was filled with dead cats and piss, bottles of piss. David Wilcock was telling everybody that the government confiscated millions of dollars of scientific equipment. There was no millions of dollars of anything in that house. And by the way, you know how you know it was a scam? Because the money was supposed to go to help Pete Peterson save his house. But it turned out that the foreclosure had already taken place. So even if they collected $1 million, they couldn't have recovered that house. It was a scam. But David Wilcock likes to twist it around and say, they said I stole Pete Peterson's money, but I proved that I didn't steal the money from Pete Peterson. No, you just helped him scam the UFO community with lies and falsehoods.
Asked him about it because he did get the money. GoFundMe was so crazy. The only thing I could do, I was barely able to even authorize the transfer into Pete's account. They barely let me do that. But to think I could have diverted it into another account was utterly impossible. It took so much work.
What about the fact that the whole thing was based on a scam
where he
and
wasn't
lies?
the one that did it himself? I said, look, he's internet illiterate. We can't get the guy online. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so we're at the midpoint now. This is 1 hour and 30 minutes.
And here you say, remember, David Wilcock claims that Pete Peterson was an early computer pioneer, and he beat Apple and Tandy and Commodore and IBM and everybody else to market with the world's first alphanumeric computer. And here he is admitting that the guy didn't even know how to work the internet. How the hell are you a computer expert that can't work the internet, David Wilcock, you liar? But anyway, if you're interested in the Pete Peterson GoFundMe scam, you just search in our database here. Just go to the search bar here on our channel and put Pete in, and you'll see Pete Peterson GoFundMe investigation scam. We proved 100% that that was a complete and total scam, and that Pete Peterson was a complete and total fraud. He wasn't what he pretended to be. His whole biography was fictitious, manufactured, fake.
I'm going to start doing a lot more slides now. It's probably not going to be 3 hours. I think I'm going to get through it a lot faster than that.
No, we won't.
But anyway, this is a good midpoint. If you
it's
need
probably
to
not going to be
catch
3
the rest of
hours. It's 3 hours.
3,478 right now. That's awesome. Come back tomorrow at the 1.5 hour mark if you have to go to sleep right now, and we'll pick up the discussion. Anyway.
Yeah, I can imagine that David Wilcock puts a lot of his old lady followers to sleep, right?
If you're still with me, thank you for sticking in here. And so, once again, you know, you have to kind of admit this is in the David Wilcock arena. We're talking about aliens and we're talking about sex. And so
yeah, this is funny. Oh, we're talking about aliens and we're talking about sex, and he laughs. In his last stream, he claimed that he basically got R-worded or SA'd by reptilian aliens who butt banged him and throat banged him. And now he's laughing as he says it's about aliens and sex. This man is complete and totally disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Another kind and generous 99-cent super sticker from Zizix. We will thank you for helping us to praise the cash, bitches.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right. Praise the cash, friends. Yes. Let me make sure that we got them all. So, and also, I just want to remind everybody that we read every single super chat. Every single super chat or support that comes in, PayPal pledge that comes in, we give everybody a shout out and a big thank you. I'm going to take a moment to thank some kind and generous PayPal pledgers. We have initials JR with a kind and generous $10 PayPal pledge. If you send a PayPal pledge, instructions to help are in the description of the video. Please be sure to add a note and then give us your chat room user ID. A lot of people forget to do that. Initials MB with a kind and generous, because I don't want to read your real name, you know. So add a note and send us your chat room user ID. But anyway, kind and generous person with initials MB sent us $2.50 PayPal pledge. We thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we have a kind and generous $15 PayPal pledge. Initials RS with a kind and generous $15 PayPal pledge. We thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. It is much, much appreciated. We want to take a moment to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors, you Patreon supporters, you PayPal pledgers, you super chatters, super stickers. Just so you know, you can still throw a couple bucks in our hat, even if you're watching a replay or you're on the replay crew. Just hit that thanks button and send us a couple of bucks. We'll try to thank you, or we thank all of you. And I want to thank all of you new members, and I want to especially thank the people that have been buying all these, gifting all of these memberships. Richard, Larry, thank you so much for your kindness, generosity, and support. Thank you all for helping us too.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right. How did I miss? Did I miss some? Yeah, I guess I missed some. Wow, this is weird. Let me make sure we got them all. Oh, let me back up. That's weird. All right, so there's something wonky. No, I think we got them all. If I did miss one, I apologize. Let me go to the back to the live chat and just scroll through there. No, I think we got them all. So thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. I am that I am. Hit me up in the comments about Billy Meyer. Send me another email. I think you've already sent me an email, but send me another one. I'd really appreciate that. And yes, I'd be happy to host you and talk about your experiences. Usually watch on YouTube, but I subbed here. Figured I'd say hello and do my part to praise the cash. Thank you, Nick Uncaged. We appreciate your kindness. And thanks for being over there. Amy Collins says, there are still older programmers out there that programmed when the world software was not even a thing yet. One of the things they called software was math flow. Yeah. All right. So we're at the halfway mark of this guy's dumb ass stream full of bullshit. And so far, all we learned is that David Wilcock really likes free money, and he's the laziest slob on earth who works 3 hours a week. In this one, he doesn't even have slides. So he didn't even take the time to make slides. He's just sharing Ezra posts from Twitter. Great, great. So we've done our due diligence. This is the biggest steaming pile of bullshit since David Wilcock's last steaming pile of bullshit, quite honestly. I am just fascinated that anybody thinks this guy has secret knowledge or information. But what can I say? You know, there are some pretty... No matter how stupid you think people are, George Carlin said this, no matter how stupid you think people are, they're even stupider than that. I mean, the guy's been wrong about everything. People keep throwing money at him. He gets in financial trouble, and his followers just send him thousands of dollars. Must be nice, right? But what can you do, right? I mean, we have been fighting the good fight here, trying to educate people about this clown for literally years. And I'd like to think that we have had some effect, because certainly his influence has been waning since we began our very critical coverage of him. And I think that's a good thing. I just wish that we could reach more of the stupid people that are dumb enough to send him money. And as I said in the beginning of the broadcast, if David Wilcock does not stop falsely copyright claiming my streams, I will be taking some actions against him. And we're going to share it all here. So that'll be interesting. He thinks he's already got a lot of legal problems. I hate to add to anybody's burdens, but I will not have a new age grifting con artist, scam artist, stealing money out of my pocket. The ad revenue for our streams is my money. David Wilcock has no right to claim that when what we're doing is legally allowed by law. It's called fair use. And also, the claims that he is filing are completely and totally false. It says that David Wilcock and Corey Good are talking about Atlantis or something. No, that's not even what is in the video. You're completely and totally fraudulently false copyright claiming me, David Wilcock. And by the way, one of David Wilcock's dumb as dirt dickhead followers filed a hard copyright strike against my channel. And I believe that she did that at his direction. But that's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. So talk about being under attack, right? Because your information is too dangerous. David Wilcock appears to be trying to do everything he can to stop us from doing this. I will not be intimidated. I'll do this for free on Rumble if I have to. Like, we're not stopping David Wilcock. We will expose you as the false prophet, scamming, new age grifter con artist that you are. And we will continue to do so because I feel honor bound, David Wilcock, to continue this mission to educate people on your cons, scams, grifts, and lies, and you being a false prophet. You are a false prophet, David Wilcock, and there will be a karmic debt to pay. And maybe I'm that debt. Maybe I'm the instrument of your karmic balance coming back into balance, David Wilcock. And by the way, just to be clear, the purpose of our streams here is not to humiliate, denigrate. It's to educate people about new age grifting, scamming con artists that have been wrong about everything for decades, still claiming that they have divine or secret knowledge that they'll sell you for $333. No, I don't think so. Not on my watch. Yes, and there may be an issue with some of those super chats he's getting. There is a practice called pumping. Do you know what that is, Craig Williams? That's when a show host will have friends or family or cohorts or stooges that work for him super chat to get other people to start super chatting. Craig Williams says nobody with a lettered avatar is super chatting $100 without any messages, and a few went back to back. High strangeness. Yeah, could be. He has been known to use bot viewers as well. So, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I am that I am. I am just saying that on the Billy Meyer case for 20 years, and I would love to know if he was a hoax. I just watched 2-hour video with Michael Horn. If anyone has any questions, hit me up. I be on the video. Email me again, and maybe we'll have you on the show to talk about your experience. People used to pump GoFundMe so that they could claim the lump sum if they were close to hitting the goal. I agree. Yeah. So listen, friends, we've done our due diligence. I will be back here tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I hope that you'll be here with me. Got a really fun show planned for tomorrow evening. So hopefully you will all be joining me tomorrow night. And if you like this David Wilcock coverage, this Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're doing a 12-hour streamathon. And before anybody asks, no, it's not live. It's a collection of previous coverage, our oldest coverage of David Wilcock forward. 12 hours worth of me ripping David Wilcock a new asshole and showing everybody what a liar and scammer and grifter he is. And if you enjoy this content, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. And finally, be sure that you hit that subscribe button. I think there may still be some free memberships. So if you're not yet a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. You may get a free membership. And we want to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors. It's so funny to look in the live chat and everybody in here is a member. That's awesome. Well, not everybody, but most of you. And those of you who aren't, don't throw me the $5 if you don't get a free one. Come on. And by the way, I'll be making an announcement about the members only and Patreon content tomorrow. I've decided that since so many people keep gifting these free memberships, we have to step up the extra content for the Patreon supporters and the YouTube channel members. I'm going to make a video about that, which will be posted to members and Patreon tomorrow. In the meantime, yeah, I'm going to bounce on out of here. So we have done our due diligence. We want to thank all of you for joining us. What a great night we've had again here, visiting the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. How much money can he steal? The world may never know. Okay, so, but I do wish a road to redemption. I hope that David Wilcock stops lying to people for money and gets a real job or does something of value. Lies have no value, but I suppose they can offer comfort to people stupid enough to believe them, but a lie remains a lie. You get nothing from a lie but a letdown. David Wilcock has been letting his followers down and the public at large with fake theories, fake pseudoscience, fake government insiders, fake secret space program people, and more for decades now. And that's sad. The man spent decades of his life crafting lies to sell to stupid people. But I still wish him a road to redemption. I think all men deserve a road to redemption. Do I think he's going to suddenly straighten out and stop doing what he's been doing for decades? No, it's too easy. You heard him. He just laid around his multi-million-dollar mansion all week waiting for a huge check to arrive from a dumbass supporter that gave him money. Right after other dumbass supporters gave him $4,000 in cash at a conference he was at. You better report that to the IRS, because if he doesn't, I will. But it is what it is, friends. This is where we're at, and this is where we find ourselves. And I find myself having enough of this mindless drivel being pumped into my ears tonight, an hour and a half of him. It's a lot to take in. But like I said, we'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. we're going to leave you with a wonderful music video by the one and the only Simon Fly. This is his excellent music video called I'm David Wilcock. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
Oh yeah, look at that. Very good. 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 I'm David Wilcock. I'm David Wilcock. I'm David Wilcock. Cock, cock, cock. Wow. 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 Extraterrestrials, angels, angels suck. Extraterrestrials, angels, angels suck. Extraterrestrials, angels, angels suck. Extraterrestrials, angels, angels suck. Wilcock. 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 It's here. Cock. Extraterrestrials, angels, angels suck. Extraterrestrials, angels, angels suck. Extraterrestrials, angels, angels suck. Extraterrestrials, angels, angels suck. Woo! 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 Cock. 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 I'm David Wilcock.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. There is some problems with the super chat sticker or super chat system here with the software we use. It's supposed to put every viewer support into a separate column. So I apologize. Somehow I missed Cortex with a kind and generous 40 and OK super sticker. We thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Like I said, we try to thank every single person. So, and there was another one that isn't showing up or did not show up in the starred section for whatever reason. Oh, I could star it myself, and now it does. But anyway, we want to thank Thomas Robinson for a kind and generous help. He gifted 5 Truth Seekers memberships. So like I said, for those unaware, when people gift these free memberships, they randomly go to our subscribers who are subscribed to our channel but are not yet full members of the channel. So be sure to smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, and you might get one of those free Truth Seekers memberships. Like I said, I want to thank all of you people buying the Truth Seekers, gifting the memberships. Of course, now this means I have to make more members. There's so many members now. You guys are so generous. I thank so many of you. And in fact, just to make sure that we recognize all of you, we want to thank Bunker Buster. We want to thank Marina. We want to thank 5x5 News. We want to thank Thomas Robinson, Cortex, who I apologize for missing you. And by the way, if I ever miss your super chat, speak up. Just put in all capital letters, read my super chat, and I'll know that I missed one. Don't be shy. Thank you, Sandra McDonald. Thank you, High Speed Chase and High Speed Chase again, Legal Eagle, and Lucas Bachman, and of course, Thomas Robinson. Everybody buying those, gifting those memberships, I truly appreciate it. I can't tell you, I looked at the members tab on the revenue of Google Analytics or YouTube Analytics, and our membership is up 600% or so. Somebody bought this. Mike Larry and a few of you others, Thomas Robinson and others, have bought hundreds, have gifted hundreds and hundreds of Truth Seekers memberships. So I'm going to get busy and start making more membership material. Since there's so many of you now, I feel like I've got to work a little harder. But thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. Thomas Robinson, who's also already a member himself, says, welcome, Stephen. Good night. Yeah, thank you so much for your kindness, generosity, and support. It is much, much appreciated. So we've done our due diligence and then some. I'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope that you will be here with us. And for the second time, I will bless you all a second time. For the second time tonight, good night, and God bless all of you.